All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Advanced Virtual Speaking Mastery. This is a series of 3 classes, and this class we talk all about how you can become that $1 million speaker. So let me share my screen, and we're going to jump right into the content. So let me get my PowerPoint all set up for you.
Oh, is that Zeus or Zoe?
Ah, that is Zeus. Thank you.
Zeus.
That is Zeus. I normally, when I do any type of program, normally I do put them away, but because this one's 3 hours long, yeah, I'm letting them hang out a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I thought 3 hours in a cradle would be a little too much. So usually when I do this kind of class, they hang out with me. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. All right, there we go. So Advanced Virtual Presentation Mastery is what we're going to talk about today, the actual speaking end of it. So we're going to talk about 7 ways to become that $1 million virtual speaker and get your audience to take action. If you can't get your audience to take action, then nothing is going to happen. So if you want to use speaking to either make a difference in someone's life, which we all do, and make money doing it also, you must get them to move to take action. If they don't take action, then you're not going to get the results that you want. They're not going to get the help that they need either. So we as speakers owe it to ourselves and to our audience to learn how to move people to actually take that action. They want to in their heart, but sometimes they have other things preventing them. So I'm going to use an acronym. If you've worked with me for any length of time, you know that I love acronyms because they're easy to teach, they're easy for your audience to follow, and it just makes it a little bit more exciting for both the speaker and the audience because it builds curiosity. All right, so we're going to start with the A. Now, when you do use acronyms, and I challenge you all to use acronyms in my speaker training class, I teach you how to create acronyms, how to go either from an idea to an acronym or from an acronym to your topic and your idea that way. But you can use acronyms and start from top down, bottom up, or even anywhere in between. I could start with a T if I wanted to, but the key is this: you have to be very, very clear on where you are. So if I was to start with the C, I would have to say, I'm not going to start with the S. I'm actually going to start with the C. Everybody get the C, and just take your time and be really clear. Otherwise, we assume you're going from top down. Now, I'm going to go from top down today, and I'm going to start with the A, and the A is for audience participation. Again, if you want to move people to action at the end of your presentation, you have to be getting them active and taking action during the entire presentation. Otherwise, they're not just going to go from a dead stop, to run to buy your stuff or to meet you or whatever action you want them to take. So audience participation, and we talked a little bit about this before, but I've got a lot more ideas for you today. So make sure that you've got your pencil and paper ready and that you're taking notes. And yes, you'll get this recording, but here's the difference. When we write, and Eveline on the call, she's she's a writer. She's a ghostwriter. She's also a copywriter. Make sure you're reaching out to her if you need any kind of copywriting. But when you write something, it goes from your mind to the paper and just seems to stay better. Stay not only paper better, but stay in our memory better. We remember it. And I don't know what that's all about, the psychology of it, but I just know that it does work. So take notes. All right, so comment in the chat box. We've all been on Zooms. We've all been commenting on the chat box. But what you want to do as the speaker and or trainer, you want to encourage your audience to chat in the chat box from the very beginning. And we've been doing this. So a good way to do this is just to tell your audience. Now, what you do is you want to get your you want to get to the chat box, you want to go to participants, click on participants, and then go to the more button and click on the chat. And you can bring it up and just move it over. So let's get your chat ready, because we're going to do a lot of chatting over this next 3 hours. And don't worry, you'll get a break in 90 minutes, just like as if you were at a live event. So in the chat box right now, why don't we all write down where you are zooming in from? Where you are zooming in from, because there's people from all over. There's people from back east. There's people from California. And I don't know if my gal's here from Hong Kong, but if you're here, let me know you're here. But just put in the chat box for everyone to see, where are you zooming in from? Where are you zooming in from? Now, when you're speaking, you could do this right away as you're greeting people and as they're coming into the room. Just ask them to put in where they're zooming in from. And it makes it really nice. I'm going to move mine over here. It makes it really nice because it's a non-threatening type of activity that you can easily do. And again, I'm moving my chat so I can see everybody. All right, great, super. Oops. Sorry, I made it way too big. All right, so arrange your chat so that you can see it, and go ahead and in the chat box put great. All right, San Jose, excellent. Daytona Beach, excellent. All right, so comment in the chat box, but you need to encourage people to comment. And when you don't want them to comment, it's okay to say, chat freeze, or don't put in the chat box right now. I run a networking meeting, and during the 30-second commercials, you might say, or the 30-second presentations, I always encourage people or discourage people from writing in the chat box so that they can listen to the 30-second introductions. Otherwise, it's kind of rude. It's almost like talking when someone else is trying to introduce themselves. So I discourage that kind of activity then, but encourage it other times. So that's up to you. All right, so use reactions. Now, when we share a screen, we don't get our reactions. We can't get to reactions, but when it's the live screen, we can. So I'm going to stop the share real quick and just ask everyone to give me a reaction of some kind. Give me a reaction. Excellent. And I shouldn't see any yellow hands, because most of you've gone through. Oh, a yellow hand, Eveline. All right. And you went to the training, but I'm going to teach you in the Zoom training how you can make it your color skin type. So if you so just wait for that class and you'll see you can make it your skin type. I'll do it right now, but I have so much to cover. If we have time later, I'll come back to that. All right, so Dr. Lindy, did I say it right? Liddy. Yeah, Dr. Liddy.
Liddy, you said it right. Remember G. Gordon Liddy?
Right, Liddy.
I was a fan, but the name sounds identical.
Yeah, well, I had to think of Lydia because that's the trick you taught me.
Right, and then do the French version, Liddy.
Liddy, thank you. Okay, excellent. All right, so we got Benita Joy joining us. Very good. If you ever need a ventriloquist act, she's your gal. All right. All right. So reaction. So encourage your audience to give you a reaction, but again, they disappear very quickly, and you can't do it if I'm sharing the screen. So just know that. All right. Let me go back to my share. Reactions, raise hand physically. When you're doing a meeting, you can see people. You can see people physically. Now, I'm going to stop my share for a minute. I'm going to share this with you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are in a meeting, I want to encourage you to always leave your video on. The minute you turn your video off, you go down to the bottom of the screen, right? So Eveline she's the first one that came on the call today. She's sitting there to my left, right over here, right? And she'll stay there unless she stops her video, then she'll go down to the very bottom. So as a host, or as if you're the speaker, you want to come in early and be top row, because that's where you're going to be seen the most, the top 2 rows. Otherwise, the bottom rows, I can only see with my peripheral vision, right? So if you want to be seen, come in, video on, and then keep it on. Don't turn it off or you drop to the bottom. Does that make sense? If you have to leave, like I don't see Angelique there. She left, but I see her screen. She's going to stay in position, right? So that's like a Zoom hack, right? So if you have to leave physically, maybe you leave and put it on mute and you won't lose your position. Does that make sense? Is that a good hack? No, no offense to my friends, the hacks, right? Kathy and Byron hack.
Whatever.
Okay.
Arvi, I always thought if you had to like step away for whatever reason, a bio break, a phone call, that to put on the video was the polite thing to do rather than have them see an empty chair. I guess that's not correct.
It is polite. It depends on the meeting though. If you've got hundreds of people on the meeting, you don't want to drop to 199 because the host will not see you anymore unless they're paging through. So it all depends, right?
Okay.
You just know about positioning. If you don't care, and then that's okay. But if you want to be seen by everybody and you want to be next to the host or the speaker, then you might want to think of a different way to leave the room. Yeah.
You're speaking her language when you say it depends. That's lawyer language. They say that all the time.
Oh, is it?
They get asked a question and they go, well, it depends.
That depends.
It's so true, though. There's so many facts to consider and weigh and what outcome you want.
That's right. We've got a couple of attorneys here with us, Dr. Lindy and Benita Joy also. They're both attorneys. So, okay, so legal. All right, let's go back to the screen. Just a little hack there. No fun, no pun on the hacks. All right. Okay, let's go back. So raise hands physically. Again, if we stay in our up position, we'll be able to be seen a lot easier. Nonverbal icons, those are the little icons that we can see when we go to participants. And then we see all those yes, no, cup of coffee. The only problem with those, though, that most people can't see them because they're so small. So if it's a large meeting, you're not going to be able to see them. So I prefer another way. I just like to go like, look at me, hello. Okay, verbal involvement, of course, you can have people unmute and say things like what I did when I say got it, you say got it, I say good. Got it? Good.
Got it.
Good. All right, and then breakout rooms are great. We've all seen breakout rooms, but if you use a breakout room for your audience, you want to make sure that you're very clear on what the assignment is, what the question is, who's going to be the leader, who's going to be the timekeeper, and exactly how much time they have. Otherwise, they don't work and can become a waste of time. So breakout sessions, just use them properly. And of course, one of my favorites, the only person I ever see do it is me, and that is quizzes. And you can put your quiz right on PowerPoint. So what is the biggest mistake that you have done or you have seen done by a business speaker? Is it A, use notes, B, not knowing their message, C, no call to action, D, no stories, or E, all of the above? So in the chat, go ahead and write your answers in the chat. If you can't find the chat, you have to go to participants first and then click on the chat and you will see it. All right. Excellent. Whoa! I just got my screen too big. Hold on, I'm trying to move everything over. All right, I'm going to move all of you to my bottom of my screen so I can see the chat. Excellent. All right. So we have all kinds of different answers. We have E, we have B, we have E, a lot of E's. Excellent. Good job. Well, if you did say E, you would be absolutely right, because when you learn how to speak right, you'll never have to worry about notes or anything else happening to you. In other words, when you learn my speaker system, you will learn a system where you won't have to use notes. You know where your call to action is to go. You know how to do stories, and you know, anyway, it's all good. So you don't have to worry about any of that happening to you. All right, let's talk about when you're the speaker, how you need to be in the camera ready position. So if you just joined us, we are spelling out the word actions. So write actions on your paper. And C is for camera position friendly, camera position friendly. So what do I mean by that? All right, how many of you have seen a cowboy or have been a cowboy?
Make sure that it's not going up your nose, down your shirt.
Yes, excellent. But
I've even branded cattle.
Brand, okay. One time I was in Montana years ago, and I saw a group of cowboys crossing the street, and we had to stop for them. They were herding cattle, and they were young. And I tell you, I never saw a sexier sight in my life than these guys on top of these horses, beautiful horses. It was just the sexiest thing I've ever seen. So,
Harvey, aren't you a longtime married woman?
yeah,
Married young bucks?
yes, but not blind, not blind. Awesome. So, anyway, so cowboys can be pretty cool. But anyway, what I learned in Montana, that if a cowboy put their hat down across their face, that meant that it was threatening, that they might just shoot you at a moment's notice. So it can be very threatening. So we don't want to show up like that. But at the same time, if you put the hat back too far, then like in the play Oklahoma, then it's rather goofy. You look goofy, you look aloof, you look like silly. So you don't want to be that way either. But if you put your hat on as a cowboy just right, then it's what we call friendly. Friendly. And that's exactly the camera position that you want to take when you speak or when you lead a meeting. And let me give you some more examples. Now, I want you to look at this example. This is a live meeting, and this is me right here. This is a live meeting. I want you to pick which person is the most friendly looking, that's in a proper camera position. So put in the chat box which one it is. Which one it is. And I'm going to call my chat box back up here. Okay. Which one? Go ahead in the chat. Say whether it's, the bottom right, the left, whatever it is. Okay. Go ahead and write that in the chat box. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Top, middle, bottom right. Okay. We've got a few that are putting the name, okay. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay. And you are right. Most of you are right. It's this guy right here. Do you see where my cursor is? It's the middle, very center. And this happens to be the founder of this particular organization. And he is in the right ready position. He is leaning forward. He could use a little better lighting, but other than that, he is leaning forward, center stage, and looking like he's interested and participating. Where when we look at some of these other people, right? I mean, we see that, they're looking around. This person, she's cut off at her neck. That's not really a good position. She's a little dark. These people didn't even show up, right? That's why they're at the bottom. This person's looking a different direction. Let me move my, and again, this was an early meeting before people, learned more about it. A little too dark. So a little too dark here. So what you want to do now that you know, and now that we've been practicing, for 4 or 5 months in Zoom, I just want you to be aware when you're speaking. If you're not speaking and you want to be casual, no worries. But if you're speaking, you must be in this camera ready position. And practice, you can turn on your own Zoom. You can practice before you speak. You don't want to be really far, way out here somewhere. You want to be camera ready and in a good position. All right. You want everyone just to be able to look at you in the sea of people. So camera ready. Lean forward. Look directly into the camera when you speak. Now, I've been doing that except when I needed to look at the PowerPoint itself. But as often as you can, you want to, as you speak, as you lead a group, you want to look at the camera, not at your notes, not at your PowerPoint. Every time you do, it's a disconnect. Now, when you're live, speaking live, and you have a PowerPoint, it's a bigger disconnect because you're moving further and looking this way. So the more you disconnect, the worse it is. But in here, a slight look is okay. If you need to put your notes or some outline directly under your camera, that's okay. I don't recommend teleprompters because remember, in this room, everything is magnified. So what am I doing, right? What am I doing? I'm using this teleprompter and you can see my eyes and I'm going back and forth. Just know your material. You are the professional. If you practice 1 hour for every 2 minutes of presentation, which is what I teach, you will be fabulous and you won't need notes and you won't forget what you're going to say. You'll show up confident and you'll move people to action. So look into the camera as much as you can. Center yourself within this screen. Center yourself. So I'm center, right? I'm center. You can see my background. I'm exactly center in my positioning. Front lighting. Make sure you have lighting. We've talked about lighting before. I'm going to talk about it until I'm blue in the face because it's so important when you show up in Zoom. You see, when we're in a live event, we have no control over the lighting, over the stage, over what we're giving. We have some control because you want to find your light or position yourself somewhere else if the speaking area is not well lit. Yes, you have some control. But here you have all the control in the world. It's all at your own fingertips. So it's like Barbara, and I'm going to pick on Barbara because she's my dear friend. You need to get some lighting or move. You used to do these Zooms outside. You could do it outside again with if it's well lit. But you want to take care of yourself, invest in some lighting. If you're going to be a speaker on the virtual stage, invest in some lighting. And I just discovered the other day that there's lights that you can hook onto a laptop. Little lights that hook directly onto the laptop. So if you don't want a big ring light or invest in something huge and just want something a little more compact, it's called webcam lights, webcam lighting or webcam lights. So check that out. But you want to be front lit. Natural light is the best, but if you can't have natural light, then get some lights. I have 2 box lights in front of me. I've got a natural light to the right and a natural light to the left. I want to make sure I'm well lit. The other reason, ladies, let me just tell you a hint, ladies, when you're well lit, the wrinkles disappear. That is the coolest thing. People are saying, my goodness, you haven't aged a bit. Wrong. I just got some really good lighting. So check that out. So, and again, have a nice background. We've talked about in the Zoom class, we talked about virtual backgrounds. I recommend a real background myself, but if you don't have a nice office or something like that, then a virtual background will work. But please do yourself a favor and get a green screen. They have green screens that hook on the back of your chair. They've got pop-up ones. They're not that expensive. You can get all you need on Amazon, of course, but choose a nice background because people are going to see you. So you don't want a distracting background either. You don't want something that you get lost in it because of all your branding and all the words and all that. You don't want to be lost in it as a speaker. You want to stand out. So if you have some words at the top, cool. But just don't let your background upstage you as a speaker. Think of it that way. Always use a microphone, right? You've all seen my big boy. I've had a little one. This is a Blue Yeti. I had a smaller one. Then when I started to stand up and speak, because I've got a desk that rises now on purpose because I wanted to stand up to speak and just have that, more energy. Then I needed a taller mic because it was, not picking up the sound the same way. So get a microphone. All right, USB microphones. I started out with one of these, very inexpensive blue snowballs they're called, then went to the Nano Yeti, and now I'm at the big Yeti. So I've graduated. They're not that expensive. Again, you can get them on Amazon, but if as a speaker, you want to sound and look your best. All right, sorry about that. I forgot to unplug the phone and all of my excitement to be here with you today. All right, make sure you do that when you do speak, to unplug your phone. I turned off my cell phone, but I forgot to unplug my landline. So bear with me. Well, okay, good. Whew, over. All right, trust and rapport. The T, we're spelling out actions. The T is for trust and rapport. You must build trust and rapport with your audience. Now, of course, you can do that by several ways. Dress professionally. I went to a call the other day and I was going to hire this gal, and she showed up in a t-shirt, not a nice woman's t-shirt, but kind of like, a workout t-shirt. And at first I had to kind of like, wonder if it was the right thing I was doing. And then she, of course, told me that she just got done working out. And I'm like, all about working out. So I'm like, okay, cool. So just be careful how you're dressed when you speak. That's all I'm saying. Dress as if you're speaking on a stage. Just keep that in mind. Dress as if you're speaking on a stage. Wear your branding colors, your best colors, your favorite colors. Look your best. Greet people by name when they come in, just like I did when you all came in. Greet people by name. And again, you can always tell them to, in the chat box, to write down, where they're calling in from, where they zooming in from. That's always a great way to build rapport. But greet them by name. There's nothing worse. And I'm sure you've all experienced this, where you came into a Zoom room and everybody's there on the gallery view and nobody says anything to you. I mean, that's like walking into a restaurant, into a meeting, and nobody's saying hi. Now, if you come in late, okay, that's one thing. But I'm talking about you're there, I'm sitting there, in a new meeting, nobody knows me, and waiting for someone to even acknowledge me. It's not a very good feeling. So make sure that you acknowledge everybody. Now, if a couple of people are talking, and I oftentimes say, excuse me, just a moment, I want to greet so-and-so who just came in. And just, if you're leading that meeting, then you can, do that if you're leading the meeting. If you're not leading the meeting, you can always acknowledge people by chats if you need to. But do acknowledge them. That builds trust and rapport. Share your professional story. That's not your personal story. We don't go back in the closet and dig up our life, problems and challenges, but we do want to know how you got into the business that you're in now. Everybody's curious. So always share your professional story. And people love rags to riches stories. They love mess to success, outhouse to penthouse, all of those kind of stories. So if you have one of those, absolutely share it. But whether you have an outhouse to penthouse story or not, people want to know, how did you get in the business that you're in? How did you get into copywriting? How did you get into, how did you become a lawyer? What made you first decide to be a lawyer? How did you become a ventriloquist? I mean, whatever your story is, we want to know, how did you decide, or how did you become, what you are today? So oftentimes I'll share my story with you when we start these meetings, how I began. I wasn't a speaker. I started out in corporate America. My boss told me to go out and tell people we were offering this service. And I thought, because I took one speech class in college, that I knew everything there was to know about public speaking. Well, I was dead wrong, obviously. And I went out to speak and failed miserably. And it took a woman coming up to me and telling me, honey, I hate to tell you this, but after every sentence, you say okay. And it took that event before I realized that I needed to respect public speaking and get trained. So just because I could flap my jaw didn't make me a public speaker. I needed to respect it just like you would law, just like you would finance, just like you would accounting or any other profession. It is a profession. It is not something that you take lightly. So that was my defining moment, and I set myself on a path to master it, not just learn public speaking, but to master it. So after 100,000 hours later, I call myself the master speaker trainer. So just a little bit about me for those of you that didn't hear it the first time. And then there's other people that I've been working with for a long time, like the hacks who've heard this story a gazillion times. But that's okay, because people love familiar stories. All right, so the next one, to build trust and rapport, be excited about your topic. If you're not excited about it, nobody else is going to be. So be excited, show that passion, show that enthusiasm, right? Be so excited you're like bouncing out of your chair. Look directly into the camera, as we said before, but it also builds trust and rapport. It's not just about being camera ready. Looking directly into the camera as if you're talking to one person at a time is builds trust and rapport, and is the proper thing to do. When we're live, we scan the audience, but in here, you don't scan it. You're not going to pretend like you're talking to everybody. No, you pretend you're talking to one person, that one person that's your ideal client, that one person whose your message is going to touch their lives. Because remember what I've said before, you have a message to share that only you can share to people that can only hear it from you. And that message will save somebody's life, save their business, or save their soul. And it's up to you to deliver it. I can't deliver it for you. Nobody can. That's why it's so important for you to step out on stage, for you to get trained, do it right, be confident, and deliver that powerful message that will make a difference in somebody's life. And I was in church one day, and the deacon said this: God has given us all gifts. And if you don't use those gifts, they will be unused for all eternity. And in that moment, I said, that's it. That's the same with your message. That's the same with your speech. If you don't deliver it, it will be undelivered for all eternity. And that means those people whose lives you were supposed to save, or businesses or souls, go on suffering. So I'm glad you're here to hear this message, because you needed to hear that. How many of you, let me go, how many of you feel like you needed to hear that message, that was just wow, right? Amen. I wasn't planning on sharing that, but the Spirit moved me.
Thank you for doing it. I thank you for doing it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Thank you so much. All right. Look directly into the camera. Smile, even though you can't see people. I'm over here. Sorry about that. I'm over here laughing and smiling, and I can't see your smiley faces, but I'm just having a good old time, right? So smile even if you can't see people's faces. And always say please and thank you. If somebody says something in the chat, answers your question, or participates in any way, remember to always say thank you. And have fun and be fun. All right, make sure everybody can hear you. You know, I did it a couple of times. Can you hear me? And just make sure. A lot of times it's good to do that when they come into the room. And of course, let's do a quiz. All right. So add public speaking to my business will provide more visibility for my business. True or false? True or false? And I'm going to go back to the chat. True or false? Right? True. Very good. Very good. True. Excellent. True. True. Very good. Yes. True. People can't buy from you if they don't know you exist. And that's the biggest problem with getting more business for yourself. Whether you're a coach, consultant, professional, service professional, network marketer, it doesn't matter. If people don't know about you and your products and services, then they don't even know where to go. And guess where they will go? My phone is just busy today. I'm gonna at the break, I promise I will unplug it. But that's good news. When the phone rings, right? You want to be worried when the phone doesn't ring. All right. So if people don't know you exist, they don't know to go to you for whatever it is that they need. So they will go to somebody else who stands out. They'll go to somebody else. And then you'll go, wait a minute, why didn't you come to me for that? And they go, you weren't top of mind. They didn't think of you when they had the need. You need to be everywhere all the time. You need to be speaking everywhere. You need to be Facebook living, every week. You need to just get out there. You need to upload it to YouTube. You need to be, we're in a world today like never before, not only with the pandemic. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about a world of information, a world of speed of traffic, a world like that. Somebody can know who you are in an instant, like we never had that before. A communication that's opened up. There's so many lines of communication. It's like, it's really challenging to take care of them all. I realize that. But the more lines of communication you're on, the more social media platforms you're on, the louder you can scream and the more people will know that you exist. But speaking is the best way to get your message out there and grow your business and let people know you exist. It works a lot more effectively when you do a video than when you're just texting or doing some sort of written post. So that's why this is different. It's a lot more powerful. All right, so invitation. Invite your business, invite your audience to take the next step with you. Now, this is critical. If you want to get business, if you want to make a difference, if you want to, again, generate leads, you need to have an invitation. You need to have that invitation. Don't be shy. A lot of people want to take the next step with you. You see, transformation takes time. Transformation is done over time. It is not done overnight. And so for you to effectively help somebody, whether you're a life coach, business coach, financial advisor, realtor, it takes time. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, but it takes time. So you want to make sure that you invite people to take the next step with you, whatever that next step might be. So the I in actions is for invitation. Now, how do you do that? What are some invitations that you can do in this virtual world, right? You still can invite people to do a 30-minute strategy session with you, coaching session, discovery session, rediscover session, exploratory session, one-on-one, breaking bread, get to know you, collaborate, whatever you want to call it. And in this environment, guess what you can do? You can put the link in the chat to your calendar, right? And if you don't have one of those calendars, I would suggest that you get one. I resisted getting one, believe it or not, until the first of the year. I always had an assistant. My assistant would call, just like corporate America, set up the appointment. Oftentimes we would go back and forth and until you got somebody. It was crazy, right? It was crazy. And so I went to this event. Actually, it was Daniela's event in January this year. And I was looking for a system that would integrate with Outlook, which is what I used on my desktop. And I was talking to Eli, and some of you have met Eli. We had dinner together, and I was asking him, what can I use? What calendar will integrate? And he looks at me and he said, Arvi, get out of the 80s. And so I had to come up to speed and get out of the 80s and use Google Calendar. And I use Calendly with Google Calendar, and I love it. And I am so glad that he just looked at me and told me, what it was. He was very blunt, and he was right. And now I love it. So you can get yourself a calendar, go to Google, and like I said, I use Calendly, very inexpensive, but there's a ton of them out there. Do some research, find the one that works for you, and then take that link and put it in the chat box. It works like a charm. All right, you can also do a free offer. You could put a link to a free offer in the chat box. Works well. Make it a live link though. Make sure you're doing the HTTP so that people can click on it right now while you're talking and while they're motivated to do so. Or you can say, if you don't have either one of those, email me and put in your email address in the chat box. You can tell them to call you and put your phone number in the chat box, or put your phone number or any one of these on your PowerPoint. That'll work it too, not as quickly, not instantly. I like instant results, but it will work. Use whatever's in your toolbox. Use whatever's in your toolbox, but do something. Most business speakers have no call to action, no invitation. They don't do anything. They just go, well, thank you very much. And that's it. And that's not going to get you business or help somebody change their life. Visit your website, but nobody's going to do that. That's like the worst one you could do. But some people say visit the website. How many of you have ever visited a website when someone says go to www.visitmywebsite.com? You know, it's just not going to happen. We don't do that anymore. So don't waste your breath. But if you have to, for some reason, maybe it's a landing page, and that would be fine. Like you want to send them to an event landing page to sign up, then that would make sense. Another event, that's the event landing page you probably would want to use, but you can verbally invite them to another event, a webinar, live event, virtual event, webinar, podcast, a million different things you can invite them to, and drop the link in the chat. Now, one of the things I want to do for an invitation, and I'm going to give you an invitation to work with me later, but I want to demonstrate an invitation right now that you could do. Get a text service. Now, texting is really huge right now, and we've all been on different people's text lists. So this is an example of mine. So what you want to do is you want to put in the number field. You want to put the number 71441 as if you're calling me, right? And then you want to text in the body, the message, put my name in there, and then tell me what comes up. All right, the first person speak up that gets the answer. Tell me. Just unmute yourself and scream it out.
I'm confused.
Okay, so take your phone out, go to text message. That's the only bummer about this method is it can be confusing. So you go to the text, right? Now you
I got it.
okay, good. So where you see 20, T-O, put 71441. And then in the body of it, in the body where you would write me something, just put in my name.
Got it.
Got it? Good.
Yay!
Yay! And
Superstar!
yay! Awesome. Awesome. So that's as easy as it is to get people to take action. And what you can do there is now you can nurture them. So what you'll get from mine is every month, just I don't abuse it, just once a month, little tips from me, little public speaking tips. You can type in stop at any time. And I haven't been doing too many tips lately because since COVID, I've lost my assistant who used to do it. You know, so now I'm kind of like a solopreneur.
I hate to interrupt, but I don't understand still. I put the 71441 in, but there's no place to type your name.
Well, it should be in where you would text me.
Yeah, my phone doesn't have it doesn't let me type your name. Doesn't allow that.
Oh,
Okay.
Can I speak up? I think I know the answer.
Okay, Pam, what?
Message.
Okay, on your phone, if you look at the very top right of your phone, there's 3 dots. If you click the dot, it'll open up where you can send a text message, and that's where you put the Avery in. Put her name in.
Oh, and then I open that up for a message.
Open that first, do a text, and put her name in, and then you'll get the reply.
Got it.
Correct.
Harvey, how much does this service cost?
You know, I'm bleh. Most
know.
this service is, yeah, I see, Margie, thank you. This service is through a friend of mine, so it doesn't cost me that much. But most people, it will cost around $49 a month. There's another service called Easy Texting that I used to use, and it's $49 a month. So it's equivalent to any of these kind of services, out there. So I can, at the break, I'll put who I've got, my friend's address in the chat box during the break, which we're going to do in about another 20 minutes or so.
Harpy, when I did it and I put your name in, it posted server.
That's weird. Try it again and try all caps.
I didn't do all that. That could be why.
Okay, we're moving on, but that is the challenge with text services is sometimes you have challenges doing it. If I was live, I would say, turn to the person next to you, let them help you, or I'll help you at the break. So that is a challenge. Some people, and it's because phones are different. We have so many different kinds of phones nowadays, but it is a wave of the future is to build your text list, because emails will not be, and we've already seen they're not as effective as they once were, but people are going to texting. So all the big speakers like Brendan Burchard, Grant Cardone, they're using these kind of text services, but they're using heavy duty text services, that are really expensive. Okay, let's move on. So, all right. So next, the O is for delivering, over-delivering. You want to over-deliver value. So whatever your information is, I want you to deliver the best of the best of your information, not the kind of the mediocre stuff that normally people share. I want you to dive deep and share the stuff that nobody's sharing. Share the secrets, the real true secrets, pull back the curtains. So if it's something about real estate, about finance, about law, whatever it is that people aren't talking about, that's what you want to talk about. Because then people go, wow, if she or he's giving me this great stuff, I can only imagine how much more they know and how much more I can learn. And that's exactly what you want. Or if you just give the regular stuff that everybody's sharing, then nothing's new, and then they're going to think you're just like somebody else. So dig deep, share your secrets, go over deliver, give them tips and bonuses extra, right? You're going to promise them 3 ways for healthy living, give them 4, right? Over deliver without overwhelming. You don't want to overwhelm them like a fire hose, right? So overwhelming that they can't even do it. And I've been on even virtual events like that, and it's just like the information is so overwhelming, and it was so fast that I couldn't even get it all, and so I just kind of gave up even listening. So over deliver without overwhelming. All right. Okay, so I have a few, let me look at my chat box. I have a few, okay. Right, okay, yeah. Angelique likes Schedule Once. That's a nice one. And Calendly. I like Calendly. I haven't tried Schedule Once, but I tried several of them. I tried Time Trade. I tried, and sometimes it was just integration. One of them that I loved was Book Like a Boss. Oh, I loved it, but it just wouldn't integrate. I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do. So I just went to Calendly. Okay, so Benita is saying I avoid texting people like that a lot as I'm getting so many text messages from marketers. Yeah, you can always hit stop to get rid of those. I like them because I get Bed Bath & Beyond and Macy's and places that I shop at, and I like to know about their one-day sales or something like that. But if I don't want to read it, I just, delete it or just bypass it. That's why I give tips. I try to give value and not just buy my stuff or come to my next event. I try to nurture. So I'm talking about nurturing. All right, let's talk about, so thank you for that. Okay. Oh, so this is something from Dr. Liddy. Federal law requires marketers to unsubscribe your number by texting back stop. That's right. Absolutely. So you can, and on mine, you'll see that it says the word stop. You do have to be compliant. Also, I cannot type in anybody's phone number in mine against regulations, and my guide provider won't let me. I've said, but I want to put this whole list up so I can remind them of this event. And he's like, nope, you can't do that by law. You have to opt in. So there are federal laws. So thank you for that. All right. When you're in this environment as a speaker, most of the time, and some of my students that are here, do I recommend that you use a PowerPoint in a live 30-minute presentation? So my students that are here, write in the chat box, is that yes or is that no? Yes or no? Okay, no. Okay, when it's a live, all right, so Kathy is one of my students and she's absolutely right. When you're in a live situation and you have 30 minutes or less, I do not recommend PowerPoint for several reasons. Number one, you don't have enough time to really connect and build rapport with your audience if you're always moving and dealing with your PowerPoint. Number two reason, the biggest reason, is you don't know where you're going to be speaking. Are you going to a chamber of commerce? Are you going to a company? Are you going to, I've spoken in places like All-Timers Wings, right? For networking groups, and it's okay, they didn't remember a thing. but you don't know where you're going to be. You don't know what they have. So who wants to schlep a screen, a projector, and a computer for 30 minutes? It's just not worth it. However, in this environment, it is worth it, because nobody just wants to see a bunch of talking heads and you get lost in the sea of Galilee, right? Instead, even if you told people to put you in speaker view or spotlight view, it still can be a talking head. So here we can use PowerPoint, and I use it a lot. I use it almost every time I speak now. And so PowerPoint, pictures, videos work really well in this environment. So I just want to show you a little video. Now, when you're in this environment and you're going to use video, when you share, and you learn this in the Zoom class, but I'll just reiterate it, you must make sure that you click on the little box that's over to the left that says, let your participants hear your computer sound. Now, when you are using a USB mic, right, like I am, I won't be able to hear the sound unless I unplug it. So don't worry, that as long as you clicked, even if you can't see it as a speaker, then it's still going. Is that good? Is this good stuff? Right? I'm giving you the inside secret stuff. So I'm going to, is it good stuff? I want to hear it. Good stuff.
Yes,
Archie?
great stuff.
Can you say that last thing again? As long as you click, it's still going.
Right. When you share your screen, there's a button at the bottom. Before you hit the second share, the blue button, look over. There's going to be two questions. One of them is going to be computer sound. You want to make sure that is clicked so that people will hear your sound through your computer. The second thing is
Where is that going to be? Where's that button?
it's when you hit share. You're not going to be able to see it right now because you're not going to be able to share. But it's when you share, the second share. You know how you say share, and then there's a blue button for actual sharing. So you hit the green button, then you hit the blue button. Before you hit the blue button, you're going to see that little message. You want to click on that. After we're done, we can practice. Let me unplug.
What's the message that you click on?
Use computer sound. And that way the participants can hear your sound. So I just pulled mine out. You won't be able to hear me very good right now, but I wanted to hear it.
All the boys are calling, crazy girl. I hope she sings this tonight. I know. Hey, Dad, pull over. We need gum.
I'm on it. Oh, honey? Here's some money.
What do we got here? Hello. Patient has a fractured fibula. Given him mild sedative, so he can be able to go on tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
All good. That killed him.
Paging Dr. Paul.
Look at the cute dog.
Oh, gross.
That was perfect.
That's funny. That is perfect. That's perfect.
I've seen that before, but where did you get it? I don't remember how I saw it, and I'd love to be able to replay it.
RV, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, okay, great. That particular video, I don't know. I had it for years and years and years. I would just recommend going on to YouTube and inquire, don't judge, or let me see, what did it say?
Don't judge too quickly.
Don't judge too quickly, right. Right. If you can't find it, let me know. What I can do is load it up to YouTube on my channel and leave it unlisted and let you get it there. But I've had it for years. All right. So the point is we can use different medium. So like Byron and Kathy Hack, they have GTI Hope, which is a not-for-profit. They can use video now here in these small meetings where they couldn't before. They would just have to bring pictures, right? So you can say a lot with a video. Now also, you can use it for testimonials now. Instead of reading somebody's testimony, instead of having somebody have to be in your audience to give you a testimony, you can use video now as a testimonial. Hold up.
Hi, my name is Gail Gajardo, and I took RV's class, and oh my gosh, my life has been transformed. Using the simple math equation that she shows us on how many presentations to do per week and translate it to how many clients and leads that it generates and how much each client is worth, I am now making $60,000 a month. And I'm going to continue to be her student, and I'm so excited, and I just want to let you guys know this really works. Thank you.
All right. All right, so the power of video and testimonials. And the Hacks know Gail. She was at the live event, $1 Million Speaker Summit, and she did the testimonial live there as well. But you can't always have somebody live at your event to be able to give you your testimony. Make sure you get, I just captured that with the phone, and now, I'm able to use it. All right, so we are still moving along. We are on the end, and then we're going to take a little break in a couple of minutes. So you've all been hanging in there really, really great. All right, so the N in actions is for naked authenticity. Naked authenticity. And what I mean by that is your audiences now today want you to be real. You see, audiences have changed. Back in the 70s, audiences were tolerant of lectures and being bored and, out of their mind, right? And then in the 80s, audiences said, we don't want to be lectured anymore. We don't want to be talked at. We want more of a presentation. And so we would see speakers step up and do these elaborate presentations, bigger than life, over the top, right? Unauthentic because they were performing. And then in the 90s, audiences said, we don't want that either. What we want now is a conversation. We want the speaker to have a conversation with us, right? And so that's when we first started to hear words like speak from the heart. Now that didn't mean wing it, which a lot of people felt like they didn't have to rehearse and then they rambled on and on. So it doesn't mean to wing it or not rehearse, but it just means speaking from the heart, being more authentic and not trying to do some big over the top presentation or some lecture. Where it's at now is audiences want an experience. Whether you're on the live stage or the virtual stage, they want to feel like they're part of your presentation. They want to be actively involved. They don't want to sit there. Now, you might have a few that might want to just sit there. But for the most part, people want to be engaged. And it's really a challenge in this world to keep them engaged. Because in the live world, we were fighting with and competing with phones, right? But now we're competing with so much more because now people are at home. We're competing with their dogs and their telephones and their emails and their computers and their paper and books. If you're in this environment, ladies and gentlemen, work your hardest at not multitasking, because multitasking is multi-stupid and multi-rude. And you don't want people doing it to you. And I'm a firm believer that you give what you get, what you give. And so you can rest assured if you don't do it to your audience, they're not going to do it to you. So really I have to put my stuff away. I'm tempted all the time. I have to move my phone out of my hand's reach if I'm in an event. I have to make sure I'm taking copious notes to stay engaged. It is a challenge in this world. I get that. But your biggest challenge is going to be to keep people in with you, in the box, and not leave and do something else, mentally or physically. So it's really a challenge. But let me share with you where it's going. And that is naked authenticity, which I call being real. Your audience now wants to know who you are. What are your core values? What do you represent? What do you believe in? And I'm not saying you put your beliefs on them. I'm saying you just stand in your own faith. You stand in your own truth. You stand in what you believe, and you stand in what you love. And one of the greatest loves I have, besides God and my husband, is dogs. I'm over the moon about dogs. I've only survived 3 weeks without a dog at any one time. I just cannot be without a dog. I just cannot. And that is, something good. All the dog lovers up there. So I tell people it's like God, my husband, and dogs. That's my hierarchy. I never had children, so it's God, dogs, my husband, and dogs. And sometimes when my husband's in the doghouse, it's God, dogs, and my husband. So there you have it. That's just me being real and who I am. So think about your core values. And in the past, people were politically correct. They would always say, the source, when they're talking about God or the higher power. And Oprah Winfrey, her last show. Now, I've worked from home for 17 years, never watched Oprah because it's 3:00 in the afternoon, I'm busy. But this one day, I knew it was her last show. So I tuned in, and she says on national TV in front of billions of people, she goes, I'm not talking about higher power. I'm not talking about source. I'm talking about the one, the only, G-O-D, And I'm like, yeah. And I said, if she can say that, we can all say that if that's what we believe in. If you like dogs, if you like golf, if you like skydiving, whatever turns you on, that's what you should share so that people that share that same love can reach out to you. Because like attracts like. And if you want great clients, then let them know who you are. Let them in, because that's who will love you just like you love yourself. It's the coolest thing. So once I started letting people know about dogs and God, then I've been attracting more of those type of clients. And no longer do I attract the blood-sucking, energy-sucking, you all know what I mean, non-paying kind of clients ever again. So, and you don't need to either. So just be 100% who you are. And Kathy and Byron and some of you that know me know I'm the same on stage as I am off stage, right? I mean, I'm the same. This is me. You know, I don't have a persona. You know, I'm goofy. I'm as goofy off stage, you know, and real and transparent. And that's where it's going. People want you to be transparent. And I don't mean you have to, you know, air dirty laundry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you being in joy and being yourself and being in love, you know, with your audience and just being real. All right. So on that note, that's a good note for us to take a break, because I want to love all of you and respect all of you. And it's probably time to go get some coffee or go get a snack or, you know, whatever else you want to do. So we're going to take okay, so it's 12 minutes after. So we are going to take a good 10-minute break. I don't think anybody need more than 10 minutes right now. Okay, good. So 10 minutes plus 2, because it's 2 after, or plus 3. So we'll come back right at 25 after the hour. All right, 25 after. And you can mute yourself now. You can turn off your video if you want to, but you'll lose placement. Remember, if you do, but it's entirely up to you. I'm going to turn off my video and my sound, but you can stay on if you want. I'm going to stop my share so I can see all of you come back into the room. So let's just take a good 10, 13 minutes. Okay. All right. Very cool. All righty. We have a couple more minutes, but I just saw all of you here. I thought I'd jump in and see if you had any questions or if there's anything you want to talk to me about before we start in a couple minutes.
Yeah, RV, I think I've figured out the reason why Byron and I couldn't get onto the advanced virtual whatever Facebook thing, because our personal Facebooks are through our Gmail account, not our GTI Hope accounts.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you need to send the invitations to our Gmails.
Oh, perfect. Would you put those emails in the chat box?
Yeah, or I can just text them to you, whichever you prefer.
Or text me. Yeah, that'll be fine too.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Does anybody have any questions before we?
I have a comment.
Yes.
You know, I've been on different events lately where, well, since the shutdown, where they aren't taking bio breaks. I really appreciate that you took one, but I couldn't figure it out because it'd be like 3 hours, no break. And then the other day, somebody who was teaching about list building mentioned that she doesn't take breaks. She was giving it as a tip because when she took breaks every hour, she would lose people the first hour time, and then the second time she'd lose more. And so now she just tells people to go whenever they want, so she doesn't lose as many people. So I thought that was interesting because I kept thinking, what's up with this no break thing? Anyway.
Well, different leaders and presenters have different ideas, but maybe if she was a little bit more entertaining, maybe people would stick around. I don't know who you're talking about, but in the world of the seminar business, the rule of thumb is every 90 minutes you give a break. So that's why I was looking at really close to the 90-minute mark. So whether it's a live event, I believe a virtual event, and every 90 minutes you want to give a break.
I don't even know why the presenters would do that to themselves, but
yeah, I don't know either. I don't know.
I think what they do, if they have a breakout room, I think they probably take their break then.
Probably. I know I do. Yeah. Rule of thumb too, little breakout, another Zoom hack. If I didn't mention it on the Zoom mastery class, when you're recording and it's your room and you're recording and you do breakouts, of course, you don't automatically go into a breakout. So you can go in any of them if you want. I typically don't, and I'll take a break. But just remember that if you're recording, it's still recording. But it's only recording you. It's not recording the breakout. So if you're sitting here going, do, it's going to be on the recording that you're going to give to, your audience. So just pause the recording is my advice. Pause the recording. You're not sitting here looking, goofy or picking your nose or something, thinking you're in private, but you're not. Been there, done that. Not the pick nose part, but doing my emails and, doing stuff like that. So for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it can seem like a long time on a video. All right. So good. All right. So welcome back, everyone. I just want to read, if you haven't read what Arlene said. She said, oh, I missed, wait, I lost it. Wait. She said, proof that you are a great speaker, Arvi. You kept my 7-year-old granddaughter's attention for 45 minutes. Awesome. She just did a Facebook Live for her first time before we got on this webinar. Very cool. Wow. 7 years old. Let's meet her. All right. Hi, honey. Hi. Let's all wave. What is your name? Arlene, take it off pause. Let's meet her. Or take it off mute, I mean. There you go. Hi, honey. What's your name?
Elena.
Elena?
Elena with an H.
Oh, Helena with an H. That's a beautiful name. So what did you do your Facebook Live on this morning?
About what's happening and stay safe.
What's happening where?
That we're staying safe and doing everything, and then about God, that He's our best Father ever.
Oh, good. Well, what is your last name so we can go later and go watch your live?
Warwick.
your last name's Florence? No, what's?
Same as mine, Warwick.
Okay, so it's Helena Warwick that we want to look for on Facebook?
No, it's under mine.
Oh, it's under yours. Okay, so we go to your Facebook. Okay, so we will all take a look at it, or those of us that can, and give you a little feedback. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you, honey. Okay, we'll see you later. Good job. Good job. How precious. That is our future right there. That's us. That's, you're mini me. That's me, mini me. That's awesome. So that's really great. Okay, so we're going to go back and share the screen. And I see Yolanda's joined us. Welcome, Yolanda. I hope you can come in when you can. All right. Okay, so we'll come back to the N, and now we're going to go to, okay, so naked authenticity. When I say naked authenticity in the virtual world, on the virtual stage, doesn't mean any of these inappropriate activities, right? It doesn't mean picking your nose or your ears, putting eye drops in your eyes, and I've seen it, yeah, eating or chewing as a speaker, chewing gum. I saw a guy on stage recently chew gum. It's like, no, not as a speaker. Walking around, typing on the keyboard, talking on the phone, talking to people in the background, allowing your family to come in the room. Little 7-year-olds are an exception. Again, I'm talking about when you're speaking. Dogs barking. Yes, I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. All right. So just want to say naked authenticity does not necessarily mean you're going to be naked. Now, another hack. And recently I've actually saw this woman. She had her video off for most of the meeting, and then we're still talking, and then all of a sudden her video came on and she was naked. I mean, we couldn't see, I couldn't see past, her breast. I know, but I know this woman. So I chatted her privately and I said, are you naked? And she, boom, got out of the meeting immediately. And it was because she was moving around a lot. And she was an older woman. She wasn't 20, right? It was an older woman in her 80s, and she was moving. And I thought, oh my God, if she moves just a certain way, we might see something that we can't unsee. All right. So naked authenticity does not mean naked. All right. Perfect. All right. So we're going to go to the S. We're going to go to the S right now. Sell with stories. Stories act as invisible selling. Stories suspend time. So even in the virtual world, we want to share stories. And there's 4 stories that you could put in your presentation, depending on how long it is. And I'm going to ask you another question in just a moment. But stories suspend time. They sell for you. So we all must learn to be that master storyteller. I'm also a master storyteller, which means I've taken classes and I've gotten paid, for storytelling. All right. So stories open the hearts of your listeners. And when they open hearts, I believe there's a direct string from the heart to the pocketbook. So when you open the hearts of your listeners, then you open their pocketbook, if that's what you are trying to do. So there are 4 different kinds of stories that you must add to your presentation. True or false? True or false? Who was listening? Right. Oh, look at Kathy's giving me the T sign.
True.
Yes.
True.
True. Absolutely true. All right. And I will give you an opportunity to learn what they are in just a couple of minutes. All right. So 4 stories that open the hearts. Right. And again, I use dogs in all kinds of my PowerPoints. All right. Is the professional story. That's the story I shared about how I got into public speaking and how I became the master at it. So we always want to share our professional story, but we don't want to necessarily get into personal things unless it relates to what we're talking about. So that professional story ideally earns you the right to be talking about whatever it is you're talking about. So if it's social media, how did you become that master of social media? How did you become the master of copywriter? How did you become the master attorney that you are today? How did you become the master, ventriloquist? Whatever it is that you are talking about, how did you get there? What earns you the right to be talking about your topic? We want to know. If you're on a very sensitive topic, like some people talk about, maybe an accident they had in their past, they talk about, divorce or abuse or something, it all, and it gets more personal, just make sure that you've healed off stage before you come on stage. Make sure that you've healed, because there's nothing worse than having the speaker cry uncontrollably. It's okay as a speaker if you get choked up and fight it back, because that makes us cry as the audience. But if you're blubbering, then as an audience, it just makes us feel sorry for you and uncomfortable for us, right? Right? Angelique is saying yes. So just if it's something personal that you need to share, because if that's your topic or that's, your audience that you're heading for, that's fine. Just make sure you heal off stage before you deliver it on stage. All right. But most of us, we're going to just do a professional type of a story. The next one is success. Now, I shared both of these. So I shared the success story about, Gail, well, she shared it herself, right, on video. And now we can do that. But you want to make sure nothing sells like success. So have a success story. And then a story with a lesson. Now, I'll share this story. Kathy, of course, and Byron have heard it before. And that's my camel story. But none of you have heard it. So I'm going to share it with all of you right now. And that's a story with a lesson. So several years ago, I got the opportunity to go to Egypt and be a mentor for the Christopher Howard Billionaire Adventure Club. Let me stop my screen for a minute. Let me stop my share. I'll just say it that way. All right. So for the, and what I'll do is I'll spotlight. I can spotlight my video. There we go. All right. So I got the opportunity to be a mentor for the $1 billion Adventure Club, Christopher Howard. He's really big in NLP. And there were several mentors. There was 19 of us, 19 mentors in all kinds of different categories. And there were over hundreds of people, 100, maybe 150 from all over the world. And we went to Egypt, right? Now I went on the pre-trip, and then we went to, Egypt for 8 days. Well, there were several of us that decided we wanted to stay for the post-trip. And during the post-trip, we wanted to see Mount Sinai. We wanted to see the sunrise on top of Mount Sinai. So we got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, went to the base of St. Catherine's Monastery, which that's where the burning bush is held. It's housed, it's protected. It's not burning anymore, but it's thousands of years old. And it was 2 o'clock in the morning, pitch black. And there's two ways that you can get up to Mount Sinai. One way is to walk up, let me see, 3,750 steps right through the mountain, or ride a camel. So I decided, well, what any smart girl would do, I would ride the camel. And so I've never been on a camel before. And the Bedouins, which are the native cave dwellers, they own the camels. And so there was camels all over the grounds and people, 2 o'clock in the morning. And this guy picked me up and put me on his camel. And the camel stood up, and the camel stood up feet or back legs behind first. And so I'm like going, in the sand with my head, and then the camel stands up and I'm 13 feet in the air, holding on for dear life. They have saddles on, holding on for dear life as we follow a trail of people up this mountain. Now, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and the sun rises at what time? About 5:30. So it's quite a journey up this mountain. And as we got higher and higher, camel after camel, just camel. And my camel, he starts to sway in this very narrow road. And I'm getting higher and higher, and I'm like looking over the side of this mountain, right? We're about an hour and a half or so in. Imagine this, it's pitch black. You can't hear a sound, not even a cricket. But my camel, camel waving back and forth, and the guy that owns the camel, he's saying the camel's name. His name was Marty, right? And as he started screaming the camel's name, I started to get scared. Fear welled up inside of me. And all of a sudden I'm screaming, oh my God. And the Bedouin stops and he says, Madam, the camel knows the way. And I thought to myself, that's right. It's not the camel's first time. It's my first time. So I was able in that moment just to relax a little bit, still holding on, and let the camel lead me up the side of the mountain. Now, we had to walk part of the way. The camel couldn't go the entire way. We walked the rest of the way. We got up there, and there's thousands of people, over 2,000 people go and see the sunrise on top of Mount Sinai a day. I bet they're not doing it right now, so I'm so grateful I got to see it. So it's all boulders. So we're all standing up there like this, like the Rocky pose, dun, 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 right? So we're standing like this, looking over the horizon, and all of a sudden we see the sun peek up from the horizon. Well, the Bedouins, they began to sing in a cappella in some Egyptian language, and the people are cheering, and it was so exciting. And in that moment, I felt closer to God than I've ever felt. Physically, mentally, spiritually, everything in that blink of an eye. Now, if I had let fear stop me, if I had let it stop me, I could have turned around, I could have got off the camel, I could have turned the camel around and ran down that mountain. If I'd let fear stop me, I wouldn't have had that feeling. And now we can't even do it again, right? Nobody's going up there now. But most importantly, I wouldn't have this great story to tell. Oh. All right, let me go back to Galley View. All right. So that's a story with a lesson. I didn't tell you the lesson, but who can guess the lesson? You can unmute yourself and just tell me what you think the lesson is.
So the lesson, in my mind, the lesson is to no wonder, it doesn't matter what path you're on in life. What it is to have the correct guides and people in place to help you that have been there before, and that to trust and put people in positions of trust in your life so that they can get you to your end goal, to where you're supposed to be, at the top of the mountain with God.
Beautiful. Who else wants to share?
I would like to think that the lesson would be, don't let fear make your decisions for you.
That's right. Good. Who else? Pam, do you have an idea? Anybody else? Luana?
About feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes, face the fear, do it anyway. Anybody else?
Let go and let God.
That believing that you can make it to anywhere that is just scared for you, but believing that you can make it, but just don't be scared to do what you're scared to do.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Alina. Thank you.
I got a question.
What is the lesson?
I said I have a question.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So, I've heard that story before when you're doing it live on stage, and you show pictures of the camel, you show pictures from that trip, you show pictures of the sunrise, I believe, and you didn't this time, and yet it was very engaging because we could see you spotlighted and telling the story. So, earlier you mentioned on Zoom, it's great to show pictures or videos or something. So I'm kind of wondering if that was on purpose that you didn't show pictures, or just.
Yes, it's on purpose. So when you tell a story in a virtual world, it's better if you do just what I did, spotlight yourself and just be in the moment and tell the story, rather than have the PowerPoint.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. Because one of the things that Kathy and I are looking at, like if we're going to do weekly Facebook Lives or something, rather than teaching, it's more about telling stories of how ministry has impacted lives in India and sharing the stories of those people. So my assumption was that I would show pictures of some of those people and then talk about them, but maybe it's better not to.
You could. Okay, so let me rephrase. So this story was a story about me. So I could tell it and enact it, but if you're telling somebody else's story, then you can still tell the story right like this, but then show the pictures as the result.
Okay. Okay.
Play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try it different ways. But Byron's right. Usually I'll show the picture of the camel and the picture of the sunrise, but on stage it's different because you still get to see me and you still get to see me doing this. But if I put it in this world, the PowerPoint would upstage the story. Got it? Is that some good stuff? Yeah, good. Great. Okay, let me go back to the share. All right, so the last story is an emotional story. Now, emotional stories don't have to be crybaby, sad stories. They can be fun stories. So let me just share a couple of fun stories with you. And things happen in all of our lives. Things happen. So let me spotlight my video. All right. So my husband, my dear sweet husband, is a bum magnet, right? He will attract the homeless to him no matter if there's tons of people in the parking lot. We're at the grocery store. They all see him. They don't see anybody else around, just him. He's just got that nice, sweet face and that generous heart, and people know that, and they just seem to be attracted to him. So one day we're going into Vons. We're going in the supermarket. This is pre-pandemic, and there's a homeless guy sitting there. And usually he sits there with his hands in his, like this. And this day he was up and alert. And he stops my husband and he asks him, he says, "What is the greatest nation in the world?" And my husband said, "Well, it's the United States, of course." And the homeless guy said, "No, it's donation." And so my husband gave him $20, $20 he gave him because he was so entertained. So things happen in your life and you can use them as fun stories because funny equals money. Now, I'm not a comedian and I'm not funny, but there's fun things that when I get to hear somebody laugh, then I know, ooh, that's a winner. I'm going to use that story again. So like Byron and Kathy heard all my stories a dozen times because when you pick great stories, you don't have to keep picking new stories for different audiences. Use the same story over and over again as long as it works. Arlene, did you have a question? Let me stop.
For instance, if I wanted to use that story that you just told about the donation, would I just say I have a story that R.V. Robinson told me?
Yes and no. What I'd recommend is you get your own story that you are emotionally attached to, something that happened to you.
Okay.
Right? You've got them. There's probably stories that are more fun and outrageous than that. So I'd recommend you can borrow stories if you need to, but then they're not yours and they're not going to be said as well, right? But here's the other thing. Let's say you can't think of a story. I can't think of any stories. Then use jokes, right? Okay, so let me give you an example. So there's this little girl. Now, it's very clear it didn't happen to me, right? I just say there's this little girl and she was in art class. And one day she's feverishly drawing. And the teacher comes up to her and says, "Mary, what are you drawing?" And Mary looks up at her and says, "I'm drawing a picture of God." And the teacher says, "But Mary, nobody knows what God looks like." And Mary, without stopping, said, "Well, they will in a minute." And that's just a joke I heard. But I'm not saying, hey, I'm the art teacher or I'm the little girl. I just say there was a little girl, her name was Mary. And then I tell the joke. But I don't say it's a joke. So you never want to set it up like a joke or you're not going to get a laugh. Oh, let me tell you this joke. Or, oh, let me tell you this story. Just launch into the story. All right? Okay. So we've all had some jokes we could probably turn into some humor stories. Just remember, funny equals money. All right. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. We're doing good. All right. So that's an emotional story. All right, so here's a little story about Jenny. Again, a success story. Jenny is an esthetician. Jenny would go to classes, and this is Jenny, and she would listen to the instructor, and she wanted to be the instructor. She wanted to be the teacher. She wanted to be the speaker. She didn't want to sit on the sideline. So she came through my training, my speaker training, and then guess what? You've heard that story, when you're ready, the teacher will come. Well, when you're ready, the opportunity to speak will come. So she got, right after she finished the class, she got an opportunity to speak at one of her big shows, which is a face and body show. And here she shows that she's the speaker. So when you are trained and ready to go, the opportunities will come. All right, so there's Jenny. She put together also herself, besides just being a speaker on a main stage, a little workshop where she was making about $100 a person. She had a limitation of 6 people in her studio. That's all she could afford. Again, she went through my training. We did some coaching together, and I helped her turn her, by adding product, helped her turn her $600 class into a $6,000 one class revenue, right? Because she was missing an opportunity of packaging and selling more of her and what she was offering. And so once we did that, thank you, once we did that, she was able to, and now she has it to do for the rest of her life, right? Once you learn this stuff, you have it. And now with the pandemic, she has gone virtual, right? And now she's taken her Jade Stone class virtually. I've been to it, right? And it's a lot of fun. Now, if an esthetician can do this, all of you can do it. I mean, nobody's going to think an esthetician, we think we have to be there physically, right? To get our facials. No, we don't. And she just proved it. And I have another client that's in my mastermind right now who is also an esthetician. And this is her family. And this is us on the $1 Million Speaker Summit. And what she's done is she's gone virtually too. And she sells now a kit for like $245 of do-it-yourself facial. Do-it-yourself facial. And now we're working on different ones. So she has one that's, for acne and different things. She has a big kit for her age, people that want, aged treatments. And then she has smaller ones for different things. And she's making a killing, and she's all virtual now. And she doesn't have to be there. She's recording it. She's videotaping it, and she's, it gives you the videotape along with, so you watch the videotape, so she doesn't even have to be there with you. It's the coolest thing. You'll find a way. We can all find a way to do business when you use speaking as the center of your business. We can all find a way to make money in this world, in this environment. All right, so just to recap all of this, audience is for audience. A is for audience participation. You can take a picture of this. You will get this recording, but if you want to take a picture instead of writing it down, audience participation. C is for camera ready positioning. Really, remember that cowboy. Trust and rapport. Invitation to take the next step, give overwhelming value or over deliver without overwhelming, naked authenticity, and sell with stories. That's how you can move people to action within your Zoom room, within your training, within your class. This works whether it's live or video or Zoom or any of it. This is what moves them to action. All right, so I'm going to share with you now my secret speaker success formula. Anybody want that? Can I see some waves of hands? Awesome. All right. So number 1. All right. This today we have 3 sessions, 3 segments, I should say. All right. This is the second segment. So, and it's what all of you need. It's like a whole thing. So now let me share with you the actual formula itself. All right. To success. Now, this isn't my speaker formula to develop a speech. I just want to make that clear. All right, I'll give you an opportunity where you can learn that. That takes a lot longer to teach. All right, but this is the success formula, and it's knowledge. Speak about what you know about and what you're passionate about. Not just what I know about, but I'm not passionate, and not just what I'm passionate about, but I don't know anything about it. What does that mean? Well, I'm passionate, as you saw, about dogs, right? But I'm not going to try to fake it and tell you I know anything about them as far as their anatomy or physiology or how their mind works or any of that. I barely trained them how to shake, sit, and go to bed, right? So I'm passionate about it, but I'm not really qualified to speak about it and teach about it, right? But I am, of course, about public speaking. I'm both passionate and knowledgeable. So think about what you're passionate about and knowledgeable about, and that's the first step. And then, of course, get trained like you're doing now. I have to commend all of you for spending this time. And some of you, this is like you're on your 7th, 8th hour with me. So exactly like this. But the training doesn't stop here. Just like law, just like financial, just like health, and anything we want to learn and master, we've got to take continuous training. Now, Kathy and Byron Hack, they're here, and they've been in my year-long mastermind training with me. And they're here getting more. And that's exactly what you want to do. Just keep getting trained in whatever you want to master and perfect. Find a platform or a stage that you're comfortable in. All right. So, everybody seems like they're using Zoom. Zoom has increased 67% in the last 4 months. But if that's not your stage, then don't worry about it. Find one that is. Now, years ago, in early 2012, one of my mentors was trying to get me to do webinars when webinars were first coming out on the scene. And I just had a really disconnect with GoToWebinar. And that was practically the only platform that was popular out there. And I just couldn't get my arms around it. The minute Zoom came out in about 2014, 2015, I just latched onto it and said, this is the platform for me. And I've been using it ever since. So pick a platform or a stage that works for you, that fits for you. Not all stages that have the right people that are for you. So you always want the stage that has your target market in it, whether it's a chamber, whether it's a Christian event, whether it's a business event, whatever it is, pick one that will have your target market in it. All right, take immediate action. One of the things I learned during this pandemic now is I don't procrastinate. Now, I wasn't a big procrastinator, but I would procrastinate things like friends would say, hey, let's go to lunch. And I would, let's go later, right? I'm really busy this week. I'm putting on my event or whatever. Let's go another time. Or one of the biggest regrets I have right now is one of my book coach and his girlfriend, and he's a real good friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for 20 years. We used to do events together. We were going to go to Medieval Times, which in February. We're going to go to Medieval Times. We had the date set. And for whatever reason, excuse, whatever, we didn't have the money or whatever. If you don't know what Medieval Times is, it's a big arena where they do jousting. I don't know if you have it back east, but there's horses and there's contests and everybody sits in a big arena, right, next to each other. And we canceled it. We said, well, let's go in March. Well, guess what happened in March? And now they're closed down and we don't even know if they'll, ever open up again. So I learned, don't procrastinate. So if there's anything you want to do over this next, several months, a year, whatever it is, just do it. Don't procrastinate because we don't know the world. We don't know where we're going right now. We don't know where the world is going. We don't know how it's going to end up. So just take immediate action. And certainly with speaking, you cannot wait to go on live stages. We cannot wait. It's going to be another year or so. It's predicted that 100 people events will not be back until 2023. All right. So we are lucky to have small events coming in 2021 or 22. So just know that you cannot wait for the big stage anymore. You've got to create your own big virtual stage. And of course, it would be helpful if you learn my proven speaker system that I've developed over the years and perfected, so you know how to write a persuasive presentation and exactly where the close goes and how to end. All right. So that's the second segment. All right. And here's a little bonus tip. When you are a speaker or leader in a Zoom meeting, and I share this with you, stepping on the Zoom stage, on the meeting stage, you want to step on it at the right time. There's a couple of ways to do this. One is to ask to be put into the waiting room. One, let me put, have a set time to enter. So if you know the meeting is going to be an hour and they're going to call on the speaker at 15 minutes after the hour, then you can come in then. That's a little tricky. You can enter with your video off, but you know you're going to end up being at the bottom if you do that. But that's another approach. Now, I did this recently. I had Florence LaRue, who's the lead singer of the Fifth Dimension, come to one of my meetings to speak. And so what we did is we changed her name to celebrity speaker, because I didn't even want her coming in with her name. So we went to her back in Zoom, said celebrity speaker. And Byron, you were there, right, at that meeting? Yeah. And then she came in with her video off, and it was great because even though she was last, I spotlighted her video, so she became first. So as long as you have a host that knows how to work the room, you'll be set, or you've got to ask them. You can also ask to be put in the waiting room, and now nobody sees you or even knows you're there. But I'll tell you, when you're in a waiting room, it feels forever, and you don't know what's going on in the meeting. And I wanted Florence to see and be, see what happened in the meeting, so she could, as a speaker, reference it if she wanted to. So so you can be asked to be in a waiting room, but it's really scary and creepy when you're in there all by yourself. It's like being in a breakout room all by yourself. You don't see anything, you don't hear anything. And then ask the host to mute everyone. Here's another way: mute everyone and everyone to put themselves in speaker mode. The problem with this, though, is you have to depend on everybody doing it. When you're in Zoom, you have complete control of the audio and video. You're in control of yourself. Nobody can control it. If I muted somebody as the host, I can unmute. But if you mute yourself, I can't unmute you no matter what. And I can never take your video off. So that'll never happen in Zoom. Just know that no host ever has that kind of power or control over you. You have it. All right, and then ask to spotlight your video as the speaker, which is what I did when I told my story. And the host can do that for anybody. You don't have to be the host. Anybody can do that. All right, I have a couple of chats in the chat. Let me just see if there's something I need to address. Okay, so Benita says, what about being in the black box with video out instead of in the waiting room? Yeah, you could be there. You could be in the black box and take off your picture. What we did for Florence is took off her picture, changed her name to celebrity speaker, because I didn't want anybody to know who she was. But even if you're in the black box without a video on, people are going to see your name. And if that's okay, that's okay. I'm just sharing with you, there's a lot of different ways that you can present yourself as a speaker, and that you could come in either completely as a surprise, or you can come in and be part of it, or semi-part of it. It depends on the meeting. Some meetings are private. There's these CEO and CFO meetings out there, Vintage, and some of these tab boards and some of these corporate, that they don't want you to hear it. They just want you to come in as a speaker at a certain time. I mean, I've been to them, I've spoke at them, and I had to wait outside in the waiting room until they were ready for me. So it all depends on what particular group you're speaking at. Got it? This is more like when you're the guest speaker, not so much when you're leading the group yourself. All right, so Margie says, what platform are you on now? Just Zoom, or is it Zoom Webinar? All right, so this is Zoom Meetings. The difference between Zoom Meetings and Zoom Webinar is Zoom Webinar, you could not see everybody. You could only see me. That's one of them. The other one is you could not see the participants. So right now we see there's 22 people here. If I'm on a webinar, I can see there's 22 people, but nobody else can see it. So webinars work great if you are like, maybe you have 4 or 5 people and you know, you're pretending, I'm not condoning this, but you know, you expected 100 and you don't want people to see that there's only 2 or 3 of you, then you might want to use a webinar if you're not sure how many people are going to show up. Or if you don't want people to see who's there, you can do that. All right, but you can still chat, and only the people that are chatting are the people that will be seen, their names will be seen. Okay, so, and there's other differences. There's no breakout rooms in a webinar. So if you want to do breakout rooms, then you can't do that. And if you want to bring people in, you've got to bring them in as a panelist, one at a time. So it's really a challenge, and everybody's automatic muted. All right, so webinars are for webinars, but for meetings and speaking and connecting and meeting people, you want to use Zoom meetings. Okay. All right, good question. All right, so now we're going to open it up for questions. Our next session, we're going to go into virtual event creation. But let's make sure that we don't have any questions. I'm going to stop my share. All right. So everybody, you can unmute yourself and ask me any question you like about anything we've covered or didn't cover today. Yes, Teresa.
I really like the idea that you did with the celebrity speaker, because I think when you come in as a speaker, it's nice to be able to hear what's happening and how the meeting is going, and it gives you a good feel for the tone of the meeting. And to me, that's always important as a speaker. So I really like that idea that you shared with us. That was really good.
Okay, good, good. And so you can use it for yourself. And if you want to stay a secret and pop in, or do it for one of your speakers that might be coming in on one of your meetings. All right. And you know what? That works really good too for podcasts, because there's nothing worse than you're interviewing somebody on a podcast on Zoom and they're sitting there while you're introducing them. It's really weird feeling. Right? And they're talking about you and you're sitting there waiting for them to say, and you know, here you are. So I like to have them have their video completely off, and even maybe their name changed in some of that as well. So it works on podcasts too. All right, or interviews of any kind. All right, any other questions before we go to our third segment? Yes, Benita.
I'm figuring it's going to take a while to build my brand, and I'm looking at whether it's a training certification for diversity and inclusion, which there's a need for with corporations and companies now. And I'm looking at whether to do that, to have something that will, I think, be easier to get speaking gigs for while I'm building my brand. I mean, on one hand, I don't want to split off energy, but on the other hand, it's something I believe in, and I want to develop an income stream sooner rather than later. What do you?
So Benita, what exactly? I know we talked a little bit about this before, but what exactly is the key question here? What are you asking me?
Whether to put energy into teaching somebody else's program. It's a diversity and inclusion, which is probably in more demand at companies, given our client now, versus waiting to brand my own platform.
Right. Okay. I'm going to answer that, and then I'm going to ask everybody just to kind of put in a word like yes or no. In a second. So the question is should she spend her time and energy learning, the key is learning somebody else's program that might be in demand, and then what, you'll sell it and you'll only get a fraction of the money, right? You won't get the...
No, I would actually have the licensing rights to
you would have the license. Okay.
Ideal scenario, so I would keep the money.
Okay. As opposed to building, she wants to build her ventriloquist business with her friends, right? Her friends,
right.
Which both of them to me are going to take some time. Mm-hmm. So the question, or almost the same amount of time. The question though is, remember the formula, number 1, knowledge and passion. So my question is, do you have knowledge and passion about this other legal product? Is there passion there?
I would have the passion, I would have the knowledge, I have some, and I would have enough after the training. I have actually more passion for doing my ventriloquism. And I think I just see that, I mean, but I could do, the other would be a way of tying my legal background into something other than practicing law that I would feel good about doing.
Yeah, but is there passion there for it? Are you passionate about this other thing? Because it's going to take you just as much time to put that together and put that in place as to build your ventriloquist business. Now, does it pay more? Maybe. But see, when we're passionate about...
They give you the PowerPoint slides, they give you the videos of the scenarios.
Yeah, well, you pay for it. You're paying for that license. You're paying for it. They're not giving you anything.
Yeah.
So the question is, and you have to answer this for yourself really, Benita, is are you passionate about it? Because what you're doing is you're putting, and this is for everybody. So thank you, Benita, for bringing this up. Sometimes we put our passion on hold, waiting to build something else to make money when we'll never get that money because the passion's back here. So I always say, do your passion. Do whatever you would do if you never got paid, because guess what? That'll attract people to pay you anyway. Don't put your passion on hold. Again, most of us here, especially with this pandemic, we don't know what life has for us. We don't know, Benita, if you have 5 years, to wait for ventriloquism or not. Or maybe you're going to be the first woman ventriloquist in the virtual world. How cool would that be?
I actually found one other one who calls herself the virtual ventriloquist. I was Googling because I wanted to use that, but anyway.
Well, you can say, add something to it. All right, so in the chat box, yay or nay, should Benita go this other route or should she follow her passion?
And I don't see it as an either or. There's a nay, Dr. Lee.
Well, it is either or because you can't be a master of multiple things. Yeah. Don't you want to be the master virtual ventriloquist or just another one or a part-timer? Right?
The master, yeah.
Right? I mean, it's one thing, I coach with intuition, love, and compassion, but honey, I don't sugarcoat. Right? I'm going to tell you what from experience and from all the clients that I've worked with, when they said, well, I've had a few, same thing. One gal, she's like, she wants to do coaching, wanted to do coaching, but she had an app business. And so she said, well, I'm going to do it to make money. So I'm like, okay, I'll work with you. I'll help you. We'll do that because it doesn't matter. Your speech, you can build your speech on any topic you want, right? But guess what? It wasn't her passion. She went through the mastermind about 6 months in and came back and said, you know what? It's just not my passion. It's just not working. Okay, then let's get back over here. But she lost 6 months. And now she's doing coaching. She's doing her love. She got on track. She's doing her love. She's busier than ever.
Yeah, when you do what you want to do.
So it's up to you ultimately, Benita. But every time you come and ask me that question, this is the second and third time, I'm going to say the same thing. Follow your passion. You'll never be sorry. You'll never regret it. No one ever said, you know what? I'm bummed that I followed my passion,
But I have heard people say they wish they had put more focus on getting money to feel like they had more space and their nervous system was more relaxed, to create the other as they're going. So I mean, yes, I believe that in theory, and I've also
have
regretted the other way.
Yeah, we all want a little bit more money. I mean, that'll all, no matter if we're following our passion or not. So that's not really an argument, right? That doesn't stand up in the court, right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, but I just want to say something about the hacks and following passion. Now, Byron had a full-time job, right? Full-time job that he loved, that he did for many years, that they loved him, but that wasn't his passion. TGI Hope was his passion. It was his mission from God, him and Kathy both. And so he started to what? Chisel away some of the time. He started, taking away a day a week and then 2 days a week, right? So that he could work on his passion. In other words, he did it gradually. He didn't do it, boom, right? Cold turkey. So that's something you can think about. You can transition from one to the other. But that's not what you're talking about, Benita. You're talking about coming up with a brand new one here or a brand new one here, right? Mm-hmm. Different than transition. And as of last year, Byron quit his full-time job, and went into this full-time ministry, right?
Great decision.
Yeah.
Behind your brain.
Yeah. Followed his passion. It never failed. But like I say, Benita, you're talking about starting 2 new things. It's not like you're doing your law work and now you're transitioning to ventriloquism. You're not, right? You're not practicing your law anymore, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I basically left it to do, yeah.
Ventriloquism. Yeah. Where maybe if you transitioned, it wouldn't have felt as hard, but now what's done is done. So you just follow your heart and don't listen to anybody else, not even me. Just listen to your heart. Right? Just really. Does everybody give her a thumbs up? Right?
I have a comment.
Yes, Byron.
Well, Nita, RV talked about including humor in your presentation, right? And so
right.
One of the things I can think of is using ventriloquism in a presentation on legal diversity to bring humor and to get away from, calling out different ethnic groups or whatever. But that can be a way for you can express your ventriloquism as part of your presentation and make that presentation that other people can buy totally unique to you, right?
Yeah, I've thought about that. Have a green puppet and an orange puppet, or whatever, for doing something like that. Right.
Listen to Byron. He's right. We all need to bring whatever extra skills we have to our presentation. So Benita was coached by somebody a while back that said not to bring her puppet in until the very end when she did her speech. And I heard her speak and I'm like, where's the puppet? That puppet needs to be right with you the whole time. This is you. You've got this talent that nobody else has. Let's do the speech around you and the puppet, right?
What about, Benita, since you have a law background and, sometimes children have to go to court. Mm-hmm. Did you do some kind of program for children that would show them, just kind of so that they wouldn't be nervous or what it's all about, and play with the puppets with them so that they can, I don't know.
That's actually a very good idea. That just resonated with me, Bonita. And my daughter, who is now 23 years old, got a letter in the mail yesterday. And she called me crying. This is my stepdaughter who I fought for years, and she finally came and got to live with us, but she did go through foster care. She called me hysterically crying because she was summoned to go to court for jury duty. And she was scared to go because of the trauma from her youth. That's a great idea. Children can use this. This is something that you can do, Bonita. This is something that really touches me.
And no one else is really doing it, and there's a need for it.
Never heard it in my life. Never.
There you go. You've got the support, Benita, of everyone here to live your dream in your passion.
There is grant money available for working with youth in different ways. If I learned how to write a grant, I've had someone try to get me to do that because she says there's a lot of money for kids and with bullying and suicide prevention, things like that right now, self-esteem.
Eveline, do you know anybody that that writes grants that could help Benita out? Do you write them, or do you know of someone?
Not personally, because I'm in Canada, so ours are a little bit different. But definitely, Benita, find someone to help you. Make sure that they know what they're doing. Ask them for some references, and and just because the people who do it are brilliant at it.
And sponsorships.
And sponsors. And Sherry, we haven't heard from you.
Writer.
Hey, what's going on?
I have a grant writer that I could recommend.
Wait a minute. Oh, we've got a human speaking. Who is that? Hey, Yolanda, what's cooking?
This is Yolanda. I have, by the way, I've been here since the beginning. I just had, I was on mute and I was on, not sharing my picture. But
Why, are you naked?
No. No, I just, my hair is a mess. So, but that's, I do have a grant writer that I may be able to share with you.
Oh, good. Can you put it in the chat box?
I have to connect with her to see if she would take on somebody else.
Okay. Then what you can do later is text me and I'll text it. Well, why don't, Benita, if you want to give her your email, your text or your email or whatever, then she can just contact you directly. Okay.
And Byron wants a connection too.
Oh yeah, Byron. And Kathy.
Yes. I'll get it to whoever wants it.
Okay, perfect. And if nothing else, give it to me and then I'll distribute it. All right, so
Okay.
Sherry, we haven't heard from you all day. What's going on?
Did you say Sherry?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just taking it all in. Great information. I love what you've been talking to Benita about the passion. And, you know, I'm a bookkeeper and there's stereotypes involved with bookkeepers and accountants. And I know, though, that I have a passion that I want to use in my speaking. It's just I need to do a lot of soul searching and figure out exactly how to develop that in my talk. I mean, you've heard me talk before, and it's all about teaching, you know, but I want to be able to create passion in my talk.
Right. Well, you can, and you want to, certainly you have it. To create passion, you need to have that passion. But with accounting, it is a little challenging, right? Because, you know, it's numbers. So how can you create a fun with numbers, you know, and just, again, it starts with your story, like how you just love numbers. You fell in love with numbers, you know, from an early age and da-da-da-da-da. So you share that passion with us for numbers. And then we're like, you know, and then we're more apt to listen, especially if you can save us money or make us money. And that's what you can do, right?
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. It's all about what those numbers can do for you. It's not about, I just love numbers, you know, I count all the time.
Right.
But it's like, wow, what a huge tool that is for you.
Just turn it over.
Yeah.
All right. So Yolanda, did you pop in? Were you going to say something else?
I did. I said, I was going to say, you know, accounting is not sexy, but it does save you money. And people are attracted to ways to learn how to save money, how to manage their money, and how to stretch. I always call it putting another tortilla on the table. When people ask me, you know, how's my business? And I said, well, I'm putting another tortilla on the table.
Very cool.
So,
okay, I wanted to hear from a couple more people before we go. Yes, Abigail?
The thing about money, because I worked with a fair amount of financial services people as a part of developing their brand strategy for them, is money gives you confidence. Plain and simple. There's a great story behind the money conversation to a business owner, because you can't save your way to success. You can't spend your way to success. It's really about, you know, having a relationship with money where you know when to hold it and you know when to sold it, basically.
Right.
So that confidence gives you that extra boost of, I know if I invest $5,000, I'm now looking for the return. I'm not looking at it coming out of my checkbook, but I'm looking for what it's getting me.
Amen, Abigail. And when you invest in yourself, that's where you get the most out of it, right?
Right.
You invest in a car, what are you going to get out of it, right? Depreciation. You invest in, you invest
in yourself, you invest in assets, always.
Okay, couple people, and then we're going to go to our third and final segment today. So I just want to say, hey, Alice, anything you want to share today? Alice, we haven't heard from you. Just unmute yourself, because I can't unmute you. Okay, there's Alice. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm listening to everyone. It's very nice. You're a great teacher and speaker and very funny stories.
Thank you. Okay, good. All right, and we haven't heard from Christine today. Christine is like one of the first ones that did the Facebook Live. She just killed it.
Well, talking about the passion, when I talk to people one-on-one, in fact, I just had a conversation yesterday with somebody, they were like, oh my God, I totally I agree with that. I can hear the passion in you, like you got all excited when you talked about it. I'm working on bringing that over to the big presentations. So I know, and I always thought, well, how can I work with digital tools like bookkeeping, not very sexy, so like, how do I incorporate that? But when I think about the one-on-one conversations I have with people, they see it in me. So I just have to incorporate it with presentations.
Isn't it interesting how you have sunflowers behind you and Angelique has a whole bed of sunflowers? How cool is that?
And I'm in Kansas and sunflowers are our official state flower.
Oh, okay, great. All right, so before we continue, we're going to do an outline of your event creation right now. But I did want to remind each and every one of you that with this training, that not only do you get this 8 hours of training with me for some, like pennies, but also you get 2 tickets to VIP tickets to my $1 Million Speaker Summit, right? You're automatically registered, but you just want to tell me who you're bringing, but I need their phone, address, all of it, because I'm going to be mailing each one of you, the VIPs, a little packet. Now, it's not a swag bag. Swag bag means junk that you can't use. Is that right? I should make an acronym of swag. Stuff, I don't know. I'll think of it later, but it's not. What?
Swag, stuff, the W is we, stuff we don't need, I don't know.
Can't use, I don't know, stuff we can't, whatever. Anyway, it's not like that. So and I'm calling it $1 million gift bag, and in it is going to be the $1 million paddle. Again, this helps your audience to engage, because in my live events, when you hear an idea, a great idea, everybody goes, what do they do? Millions, right? Millions, but you can't do it in this environment. So you're going to hold up your paddle when you hear $1 million idea. And then the other thing I say, and Kathy, repeat this one, I say, how cool is that?
That's cool.
And you say, that's cool. So on the other side is that's cool. Now, so people won't interrupt you, I've also put in there a door knocker. And the door knocker, you put it on the back of your door, and the door knocker says, shh, in the process of making millions, right? And then also included in it is going to be it's going to be a couple of gifts from our sponsors, Infusionsoft, Direct Pay. They're going to put, I'm hoping, I gave this idea to Direct Pay. You know, one of these squishies, this is $1 million squishy, right? And I've had this thing for 10 years because I love it. It has $1 million on it. So I told Direct Pay they need to make these. And if they're not going to make them, I'll make them and put them in, right? So there's going to just be really cool stuff like that in there. So that's why I'm going to need your guest address and email and everything so I can send it to them. So that's what I wanted to share with you. All right. So let's go into the last segment. And this is, we're going to outline your own virtual event. So get out a piece of paper because this is, we're going to do some hands-on work here.
I'm sorry, real quick, where do you want our information sent for getting the VIP information and the VIP pack?
To my email address would be awesome. That's rv@rvrobinson.com. All of you have it, but I'll put it in, here. But yeah, send it to me. Okay, excellent. All right, now we're going to share screen. We're going to create your own event. That's a little bit about my event. Now we're going to create yours. All right, so virtual event creation. All right, so just like what we talked about a few minutes ago of the formula about knowledge and passion, there's one more step, and that's what does your audience care about? All right, so for instance, if the audience, even if it was, let's say it was ventriloquism, if you know it, you love it, but there's no audience for it, which I believe there is, Benita Joy, I think it's an untapped market, just like magic, right? Just like magic. And we are going
I'm going to attend tomorrow a 6-hour women and mystery and magic event out of Las Vegas, all women magicians.
Nice. Well,
I do some magic too. I've never seen anything like that before.
Make sure you bring your friends. We're going to have a magic show for the VIPs on Thursday night. One of my friends and friends of the Hacks is a magician, and of course he's gone virtual. So you're going to have a magic treat for VIP night at the $1 Million. All right, so we're going to, virtual creation system, you're going to want to write this down. You're going to pick your ultimate topic, All right, so for now, whatever, there's a friend of Benita's, there it is. All right, so number one, pick your topic. Decide on the length, all right? Is it going to be a 1 day, a 2 hour, a 1 hour, a 3 day, a 2 day, whatever it's gonna be. Now, if you've never put on an event before, I recommend you keep it small and short because it'll be easier for you to manage. It'll be less expensive. And the seminar business is a whole new animal. I've been putting on seminars since the beginning, like 2005. My first group of seminars was Speak Your Way to Wealth. It was a multi-speaker event. I had Mark Victor Hansen and some really popular people on that stage. It's a lot to manage and deal with. I've put on Christian events and Christian shows. And now for the last 5 years, I've put on my $1 Million Speaker Summit. And again, that's only me speaking and a few of my students that are coming out of my mastermind. But it's not a multi-speaker event, just so you know. It's me teaching like this, but for 3 solid days. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot more to show you. Number 3, create a compelling event name. A compelling event name. Event names are so important, and they should be benefit driven. So I had an event name that I had created called Christian, it was a while back, Christian Women Who Rock. Because I called it Christian Women Who Rock, men didn't think that they could come. And, you know, so be careful what you call your event. Make it something that benefits your audience. So like Speak Your Way to Wealth, that had a promise in it. $1 Million Speaker Summit, you pretty much know what you're going to get. So create an event name that will really be compelling. Now, event names are different from speech titles. Speech titles are how-tos, 3 secrets to success, 10 ways to, you know, better health. Those are speech titles. Events are different kinds of titles. They're not questions, they're not how-tos. They're usually 3 to 4 words. So if we're gonna do this too. You're gonna have a few minutes to put this all together. But if you have an event title right now that you're thinking about, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Go ahead and put it in the chat box. Okay, number 4, pick a date in the future. Now, when it's a live event, you're going to need minimum 3 to 6 months to promote. When it's a virtual event, you only need about 2 months to promote it. But you do need time to promote. I wouldn't have an event and do it 2 weeks from now. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get done everything that you need to get done. So pick a date in the future and decide if it's a paid event or a free event. That's entirely up to you. Now, I used to do an event called Speak Up, Cash In. Speak Up Cash In. I did Persuasive Speaking Mastery. And the first time my coach was telling me years ago, do a live event, do a one day. I had my speaker training and my Speak Your Way to Wealth, but I didn't have a one day. So he said, do a one day. And so I put together a one day, and I had this fear that no one would come, right? It was years ago, no one would come. And so I put it off and put it off. Finally, I put it on. And my coach said, just pick a room, get a room at a hotel for 50 people. So I did, and we had 50, 60 seats. I had 138 people come. 138, my very first one day, and it was a free event. Now, the problem with free events, you might think, is people might leave because they don't have any skin in the game. That is a possibility. This particular event was standing room only, and everybody stayed. But since then, I've been doing some free events. I don't do them anymore, but I do free events. And I would get people that would come, and then they would leave. So I decided several years ago, no more free. I'm going to put a small fee, have some skin in the game. So my event went from 100 people to 55 people. And guess what happened? I made more money at those events that had 50 than I did the free events that had 100 to 200 people in it. Why? Different caliber of people. People had skin in the game, and they stayed till the end. They participated better, and they just were lively. So you have to decide if you want quality or quantity. It's entirely up to you. If you're doing an event for the first time, I would recommend doing it free, because you've got to see what you've got. So I would recommend, if it's your first event, yeah, do it for free. You want people in there. It's not about making money right now. It's about you taking your information to the stage, to a bigger stage than just a 20 people speaking event. So you decide, but that's my recommendation. All right, next 6. Select a virtual platform, Zoom or GoToMeeting, whatever you would like. Okay, we're getting some titles. Looking good. All right, so Barbara, prevent future health problems. Now, the problem with that is the word problems, right? So I would rename it to something more positive. And same with prevent. So instead, what if you said something like health success? Health Success Summit. Also, you always want to make sure that your acronym will work, because when you do your event, you're always going to use that acronym. So my event, Speak Up, Get Clients, is SUGC, right? But I went to an event, I spoke at an event in Las Vegas several years ago called America Sells Summit. America Sells Summit. So you tell me what that acronym is, right? So be careful. Make sure you know what your acronym is. All right. Build wealth with real estate. Absolutely. That's a great title. It says exactly what the promise is. It's going to attract the exact target market that you want, people that are interested in real estate or already in real estate. Very good. Better Health Now, Barbara, that's much better. I like that. Better Health Now. It could even be a little classier, maybe. You could even say Vibrant Health Now. You know, you can bump it up a little bit. Very good, much better. Okay, Evelyn, conquer your fear of the stage. You could, a little bit long. Conquer your stage fear, or just conquer your fear. Conquer your fear, conquer
the stage.
Conquer the stage, you could do conquer the stage. I like that even better, because you'd have to conquer your fear if you're ever going to conquer the stage. So that is very, very good. Excellent. Good job. All right. So Benita, get paid for doing what you love. Yeah, that'll work. Get a little long. See if you can't make it a little bit shorter. Learn to manifest your best life. How about instead of learn to, which would be a good speech title, you just said manifest your best life, right? Living Vibrant Health Now. Very good, Barbara. That's good. Manifest Now. Right, that would be better. Manifest Now Summit or Manifest Now, workshop or whatever. The power of your positive self-belief. All right, a little bit long. So Margie, you could do power of positive self-belief. Power or positive self-belief even. Or power self-belief. Positive self-belief. Power of self, power of positive. Positive power. How's that? Positive power. Or power of positivity. Positive power. I like positive power. Okay. All right, very good titles. All right, next with the formula, decide the delivery method, whether it's a meeting or webinar. So just because you chose Zoom, you might decide meeting versus webinar. And I've already told you some of the differences there, right? Set up your back end of your meeting, all right? So you have to make sure you have all the stuff in place. How are you going to collect the money? How are you going to get people to sign up? When you use Zoom, one thing I love about Zoom is it's got its own platform, so you don't have to have a separate landing page. You can just send people to sign up and register, and then Zoom sends out the reminder emails. So that's really cool. All right. Power of believing in yourself. Yeah, you can help each other if you have some ideas. All right, go right ahead. And then 9, create a bit.ly link if the link is too long. So in Zoom, a lot of people are sending out links that are a mile long. Do you know a Zoom hack is erase all of that garbly goop right up to the number of your meeting number? My glasses are foggied up. Meeting number. You don't need all that gobbledygook. All right. If you want to keep it intact, just make it a bit.ly link. Rename it yourself. Bit.ly is free to use. Just go to bit.ly.com and you can take a big long link and turn it into a smaller one. Simple home gardening systems. Yep, that'll work. Simple home gardening systems. Yes. All right. Generate your marketing posts or email. We all have seen that. You can borrow other people's and make it your own if you want to. And number 11, market your event, broadcast, email, social media, podcast, and any other way you can get it out there. Get other people to market it for you. Get affiliates, pay them 50%, which is common, and get them to help you to market it for you. Now, you'll see this formula is in order. This is the order. Right? Now, depending on your event, you might have a few other things that you're doing in between, but this is basically the order of the way things need to be done for an event. Passion to profit, I've heard that many times. That's kind of overused. Joel Bauer uses that one. Turn passion into profit. Well, now, Angelique, what I might say is pivot to profit. Pivot to profit. I don't yeah, pivot to profit. All right, develop your PowerPoint. All right, now decide on the invitation. That's your close. What is it that you're going to offer? What's the next step you want your audience to take? Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the longer you have to speak with somebody, the bigger the offer can be. But if you have 20 minutes that you're speaking, a $1,000 offer is too high, especially in this world. If you're going to speak for 3 days, then you can, sell a higher ticket item. If yours is just going to be a 2-hour, then don't try to sell a $2,000 system. It's not going to work, right? Unless you're like the best of the best of the best of the sellers out there. But if you're just starting out, then that's new. Start out small. Sell them something for $99. Get some wins under your belt. Now, you're going to be going up for bat no matter what, and I commend you for that. But get some wins. Hit the ball a few times. And the way you do that is an outrageous offer. All right? An outrageous offer. Just like I gave you here. This was an outrageous offer of training and benefits. And you want to do the same. So develop your PowerPoint. Prepare yourself and your environment. Make sure you bought your lights. Make sure you have your microphone. Make sure you've got your backdrop or your whatever you want to use as your back as your background and get that all ready before, of course, the actual event. And then now it's time for the event, and you can deliver that great virtual presentation. So that's a 15-step system. Depending on how big your event is, you might have a partner that helps you. I've had partners for Speak Your Way to Wealth. You might have an event coordinator to help you. It all depends on how big it is. Now, when I did my one-day virtual event, April 8th, right when all this stuff happened. It was supposed to be a live event. I had people that paid for it, $47 to pay for it. So I didn't want to cancel it. So I turned it into a virtual event, just like boom. I didn't have any help. I didn't have anybody help me or anything, but I already had my own Zoom technology. So I'm not saying you always need the help. I'm saying get the help you need if you need it. Now for my 3-day $1 million speaker summit, you bet I'm hiring Daniela. She's been my event planner for the last 4 years. So I wouldn't, I'm not going to want to do all that, take care of all those people by myself. So when it's appropriate, get it. So it all depends on how long your event's going to be, how many people you plan on having there. All right, so that's about that. One last thing, of course, is to follow up and close the business even after your event. So there's people that are going to be interested, people that want to take the next step with you. You need a way to follow up with them. So follow up and close the sale, close the business. All right, so that's where we are right now. Just real quick, are there any questions before we continue? Let me stop my share. Okay, any questions about that at all? All right, Arlene? You're muted. Now I know Abigail's getting ready to do a virtual event, right? Abigail, you're getting ready to do a virtual event.
Yeah, I put it up. There were a whole bunch of names up above certain things. So yeah, Leverage Launch is my event, August 27th. It's a Leverage Launch, right?
Great title. Arlene.
Thank you.
Okay, so my problem is how all the different parts of technology work together. Do you know anyone that teaches that or could help with that? That's where I run into problems.
There you go. Christine's raising her hand.
Oh, I know
right
Christine.
There.
And I just want to say, I advise everybody to have somebody as their backup tech. Because here on the East Coast, we had the hurricane come up these last couple of days, and a client of mine is doing a 5-day Facebook challenge. Well, yesterday she had no power. So I'm scrambling in the background to let people know with emails, with Facebook posts. It's like, that things aren't happening on time, and here's the, what we're doing instead and whatnot. This morning we were online again because she still didn't have power. You never know what can happen. So I just advise you have somebody in the background to support you.
I agree. For $1 Million, I've got a sound guy that's real technical. My web guy's coming. I mean, even though I can do a lot of that technical stuff, I've got to be on stage. So Arlene, I wouldn't worry about trying to learn it all before your event. Get someone else that already knows it, pay them, and you do what you do best, which is help people get sponsorships.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to be everything to all people.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you also bring on an event coordinator like Daniela, because her responsibility is doing all that connectivity. And I will tell you personally, being in the middle of preparing for our first ever virtual event, there are a ton of moving pieces, and a lot of them are really dependent on some of the platforms you're using already. So there is no one cut and dry, oh, do this, this, and this.
Right. I agree. So get the help that you need. Just you shine and do what you need to do, and let somebody else do the rest.
Yeah, we did our Magic for Ministry event with Stephen on Zoom. I was the stage manager. So I did the introductions, I did the spotlighting, I made sure all that stuff helped. I took care of the chat. I did let the audience in, check them off the list that they paid, all those things. And so that left Stephen free to do his magic and Byron free to give his message. So having somebody like that is really key. It makes it easier for the person presenting for sure.
Beautiful. Good job.
Arvi, I'm wondering, at the actual event, we will be making an offer, I presume. And my, I guess, sort of clarity that I need is, what is that offer going to be about? Is it a product that we have to develop ahead of time? Is it a program that we're developing ahead of time? Or is it that we're doing a virtual event to let people know, hi, we are here, but there's no actual thing that we, you know, kind of propose that they can.
Whatever the next step is, Dr. Liddy, it's whatever the next step they need. All right. So for instance, in a minute, I'm going to show you what the next step is for all of you.
Okay.
Right? Because, you know, some of you are at different stages. Some of you this is your third and last class. But if I just said bye, I would be doing you a misservice, right? I would be doing you a misservice. So all of you need to have something, whether it's a product, whether it's a coaching program, whether it's another workshop, whatever the next level up is, all right? It's whatever the next level up is. So my next level for you is my Create Your Speech in a Weekend, and actually learn how to create that persuasive presentation so that you can speak in the box but be out of the box. All right. It's the actual speaking. You know about the platform, you know about the live, you've seen the power of a formula from my live. You know how to get people to take action, but we didn't really cover, how do I write that speech? How do I create that speech that'll do all of this? So now that's my next step for you, right? And some of you will continue and some of you won't. And it's all good. So you need the same thing. You need to do the same thing. So let me show you my next step.
Arvi?
Yes.
Question. From my business, I'm really not looking to create webinars and or summits and events like that. My purpose intended for this class was to learn how to support my business virtually, and also how to create. I already have the presentations already created. I have 15 different classes that I teach.
Okay. What is your question, Yolanda?
Online.
What's the question?
Is to teach them online. That's my purpose intended.
Okay. So if you're going to teach them online, then there's going to be another class that you're going to want to teach them, and another class and another class. Yeah, they're always going to learn more and go up and up and up. So you always want to offer them the next thing to level up. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Let me share my screen. All right. So, like I said earlier, none of all of this that you learn will work if you don't have that speech. So the next level for you, the next level up, is to actually learn my system to create that persuasive presentation that actually does the selling. So this is a Create Your Speech in a Weekend, and it's 2 days. Now, I did, up until the pandemic, and Kathy and Byron have been to it, had a 4-day speaker training intensive where I taught this information, right? That's a $4,000 class, $3,997, right? For 4 days with me. Since the pandemic, I've streamlined it. I have less people come in it. We have more time because we're not spending 2 hours at lunch, right, Kathy? 2 hours at lunch, right? So I'm able to streamline it into 2 days, because 4 days in the virtual world would probably be impossible for most of you. But the same content is there. You're going to learn the same thing. So you're going to learn how to develop the speech using my speaker system, my proven speaker system, get endless virtual and live speaking engagements. You use stories to captivate your audience and your listeners. Have that confidence to speak like a pro in this world. Remember, this is different. Speaking on stage, even if you spoke on stage before, this is different, and you need to learn the differences and the nuances. Keep your audience's attention both in live and virtual events. attract clients, generate leads, which is what we all need for our business, eliminate any fear you might have in speaking in the box, and of course, use speaking as a marketing strategy to actually grow your business, to get those clients, to get more speaking engagements, whatever it is you're trying to do, and close more sales from the front of the room and virtually. So my system works virtually and live. It's the same system, so you can use it over and over and over again for the rest of your life. It's the roadmap. Now, it's the roadmap to get you to where you want to go. You can go as fast as you want to go, or you could go as slow as you want to go. The pace is up to you. But what fuels that car are the speeches. What fuels that car, the gas, are the speeches. And you need to learn how to deliver those powerful speeches. Adapt to the differences between live and virtual. And of course, learn my speaker systems. I've got more. I've got plenty. You already learned the one on the live, and those of you that haven't gone to the live, you'll learn that short one. But that's to give you the taste of the power of having a system. And when I came out in this world 17 years ago, there were no systems for speaking or creating a self-introduction or a speaker introduction or a one sheet, none of that. And I've created them. The closest thing that came to a system was, oh, you should have a beginning, middle, and end. But no one told you what to put in that beginning and middle and end. And I do. All right. So you'll have it for the rest of your life. And of course, you'll never have to worry about getting clients ever again. I mean, how many of you would just love and be in comfort if you knew that you had a tool that you could just turn on anytime you wanted to get clients, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Just boom, like a faucet. That's how it works. Speaking works when you're consistent, when you do it all the time. And with a system, it'll be easy. You'll want to do it. All right, so just a little bit about this, and then we'll be ending our this lesson today. So create your speech in a weekend experience. It's 2 days. I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step $1 million speaker system that will attract a flood of clients. Now, I'm only going to take 8 people because that's the max that I can do and really serve you well. I could make a ton of money if I took more than that, but it's not about that. It's about serving you and making sure that you come out of there in 2 days with your speech done, perfected, with your story, your professional story done and perfected and coached by me. Everything's done. You walk out of there with it done. So, like I said, normally it's $4,000. So now I've dropped the price to $2,997 for that. We're streamlining it. Here's a client of mine, and he says, what the step-by-step system does is take you through the speech and helps you dissect it, put it back together again with the different parts you need. And they all fit together well. It is literally a system where you go from A to B to C, and you come out with a wonderful speech, powerful speech. All right, that's Bill. So when is it? You're saying, okay, it's right around the corner, about 3 weeks away, August 28th, 29th, 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, both days. Yes, you will get breaks. Yes, you will get a lunch break, but we won't be taking 2 hours for lunch. But you will have breaks. So it's a Friday and a Saturday, August 28th and 29th. I wanted to make sure that I put this before the $1 Million Speaker Summit, because once I get into, of course, September, I'm going to be extremely, extremely busy working on that. All right, so Bethany says, RV Speaker Intensive Training was amazing. She has it set up that you walk in, that when you walk in, you not only learn her system, but you actually walk out with your signature speech done. That's the signature talk that gets you money. Your story done, and all the tools you need that you can literally turn around immediately and begin booking speaking engagements. I've never seen a program that allows you to walk out with all the completed tools that you need to use immediately. I created it that way because I was tired of going to seminars, listening to stuff, having to go back to my office, look at it without the teacher, without the coach, and try to figure out what was I supposed to do. So I said, I'm not going to do that. Everything that you need to do is done in this class in these 2 days. All right, it's going to be on Zoom in a safe environment. right? And let me just share with you a little bit about what it's going to do for you. It's going to help you create more time because you're going to make more sales and more money in less time. Attract your ideal clients who love you. Remember what we talked about, being real, being authentic. Then you'll get those great clients. Learn how to master public speaking, not just dabble, but master it yourself. Continuous education, continuous training. Make a difference, leave your own legacy, and of course, change lives for a living and enjoy more freedom, right? Just being in control of your business and your life. All right, so I'm going to outline some things that you're going to get. And again, you could take a picture of this, but it's 2 days of training. You're going to get my core attraction formulas. All right, those core is elevator speech, self-introduction. Yes, I've got a formula for that. And that's at your core. I don't like to call it the elevator speech. It's a core. So no matter what business you're in, it's going to attract more clients like a magnet. My instant credibility marketing pack, that is one sheets, that's emails. I'm going to give all of this to you in PDFs along, with everything. You're going to get a manual. I have a big manual, right? Speaker manual. It's all going to be in the manual. It's not going to be guesswork. You're going to have the manual. You're going to have my systems. You're going to be able to type in the forms directly, or you can handwrite them. So you're going to get all of that stuff. And then unlimited speaking engagements. I'm going to show you how you can get them every single time. And I'm talking about networking meetings. I'm talking about everywhere. I'm talking about these big virtual meetings that are happening out there, how you get on those. Plug and play, influential story scripts. We talked about some of you don't have your own stories right now. Well, guess what? I've got a whole bunch of stories I'm just going to give you that are public domain that you can use to start with. How cool is that? Say, that's cool. Right?
That's cool.
Yeah. And then my template for how you would create that PowerPoint to go along with your speech so that it is persuasive. I have a system and a template that I use for that. I'm not talking about the PowerPoint look itself. I'm talking about the order at which the PowerPoint is done. All right, and my order forms, someday we're going to be out of here and you're going to need these order forms. Right now I'm putting the order forms online. But what is a good order form and what needs to be on there and what makes people visually like it and want to sign up on that order form? You're going to have those all in that book. Clients for Life Strategic Script. Okay, what does this mean? When you do a strategy session, wouldn't it be helpful for you to have a script that you can follow, one that's proven? Most people get on a strategy session and they either talk too much or they don't ask enough questions and they lose the sale or they talk themselves right out of a sale. All right, superstar emailing. You get me for an entire year after the event is over.
Double check
Get
if it's
me. Okay. All right, so total value of that, if you were to buy it all separately, is $10,073, but there's more. All right, so it's risk-free investment today. It's again $2,997. But if you know me at all, you know that I'm going to give you an irresistible offer because of COVID, and you're not going to have to pay $2,997. But do know this is my quote. Everything you want is outside your comfort zone, or you would already have it. Think about it. Everything you want is outside your comfort zone. So if it's a little uncomfortable to speak, if it's a little uncomfortable to invest in yourself, whatever it is you're feeling, if it's uncomfortable, it's out of your comfort zone. So let's get a little uncomfortable and get it in our comfort zone. Okay. My personal money back guarantee, no risk. If for any reason you cancel before the training, 100% money back guarantee. All right, so fast action bonuses. This is my favorite part. So make sure you write these down because you won't see these in any other program. So you get 2 one-on-one private coaching sessions with me. I recommend doing them after the training. So anything that you need help with after the training, I'm there for you. And of course, an hour of training with me is $350. So we're going to add that to the list. Then I'm going to give you some extra bonuses, which is a magnetic closing script, right? I teach 6 different closes in this particular event. Now, Kathy and Byron, when I taught you the close from the platform, when you used it, you don't have to tell them what it was, but when you used it at your live event, how much did you sell from the platform? Kathy?
I was hoping Byron was going to answer. Is he even here anymore? Oh, there he is.
At that banquet,
What did you sell from the platform?
yeah, that banquet we brought in 23,000.
$23,000, right? Let's give them a hand. Woo! Yes, thank you. All right, you're going to get a speaker checklist, so you have everything. This is a virtual checklist and a on-stage checklist, so you can get everything ready and know what you're supposed to be doing. A copy of my book, which is Speak Up, Get Clients, a PDF copy. And when I see you in real life, I'll get you a real copy. All right. And this is where it gets really exciting. You get to be a guest speaker on my $1 Million Speaker podcast. All right. It's a 30-minute show featuring you and what makes you $1 million speaker. And a super bonus is a guest speaker, 20-minute speaking spot. I know you all want spots at one of my networking meetings or on my Passionately Speaking Masterclass, which is every Tuesday. And I get at least 25 people at each one of those events. So, and you can speak and sell. So you can lead gen or you can speak and sell. So that's a really, a really special bonus for you. So total value, $12,431. And guess what I'm going to do? One-time opportunity right now is I'm going to drop it $2,000 because of COVID, because of everything's going on. So you can come here for $997 for 2 days, one-time opportunity. And one more, so what I'm looking for is 8 dedicated people, individuals who want to impact the world and have a great time doing it. All right, so I'm going to give you one more super bonus, and this is a deal you cannot refuse. If you did, probably not a good idea. If you text me in the next 10 minutes at this number, now there's nowhere to send you. I'm not going to send you to a page to sign up because this is, if you went to my page, it'd be $4,000, right? So the only way you can get this is text me, and then I will call you and we'll take care of all the paperwork. But if you text me in the next 10 minutes and say you want in, I'm going to give you an extra 2-day class, which is my story selling mastery class, which we go through the 4 stories and you're going to use and learn my formulas for each 4 stories. And those classes start next Monday, right? Monday and then the following Monday. So you can get in right away and then you'll have that information for when you put together your speech. So text me in the next 10 minutes if you want to be one of the 8. All right, and I'm going to stop my share. Go ahead and write that number down or take a picture. I'm only taking 8 and I'm going to stop the share. And all right, beautiful. All right, so I'll just quickly put it in the chat box. Okay, so what we're talking about here, 645-9147. All right, so what we're talking about here is another 4 days of training with me, both creating your speech and storytelling. Nobody is doing this. Another 4 days, right? 8 hours each. So how many, what's 8 times 4? Sherry, what's 8 times 4?
32.
Right? Right? What is it?
32.
32 hours with me. 4 more days. Now, where can you get that for under $1,000?
28 with lunch breaks for an hour.
Plus, I'm going to teach you how to close from the platform. The secret to closing in the virtual world. All right, so that's what I have for now. If you want to be a part of it, then text me right now. And otherwise, for those of you ending the series today, I'll see you soon on the next event. I'll see you at $1 Million. For those of you that are starting, like Angelique, we'll see you a couple more sessions. And those of you that that are this is your second class, we're going to see you for the Zoom training a week from Saturday. So we'll see all of you eventually, but we'll see you all at the $1 Million or sooner. So you've been a great class, the best class I've had all day. Thank you for hanging in there. All right. So I'm here for you. Mwah. And have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Hey, Yolanda.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're
It was great.
welcome. Bye.
Loved it. You're
Great.
awesome.
Good. Bye.
Arvi, the next one is on Saturday for me, right?
The next one for you is on, it's not this Saturday, it's the 15th.
Okay, thank you.
The 15th, yeah. And I'll be sending you all emails about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay, you're welcome. All right, if you have any questions about the speaker training, I'll hang out and you can ask me if you like. Okay. All right, anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, speak, okay, go ahead.
From last week. It's when you said you got my Facebook Live, I didn't even realize you received it, because when I hit live, I go down to put the name of your group. And then when I would get ready to record, it would default back to say public on top where it said 2. So I was hesitant to do it because I didn't know if it was
It worked. Yeah, it worked.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so it's in the right place. Yeah,
Okay.
it did good. Good. All right. Does anybody have any question about the 2-day Create Your Speech in a Weekend class?
I want to talk to you.
I do. So,
What?
I said I wanted to talk to you about a few other things.
Okay. So just text me and we'll have a private call. Okay? Okay, so just text my number and I'll give you a call back. All right. Well, again, then everybody, if you have any questions, just text me and we'll go from there. All right? Okay. Bye. Bye, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye.